Hello and welcome to the Berkcast, the How to Train Your Dragon podcast. I'm your host HC, and with me are.
Wolf. Ian.
Audrey.
And the very exhausted Tauriel.
And today we're free. We did it, guys.
Oh
Speak
The
my
for
god,
final
yourself.
finally.
season. Okay,
Doesn't feel like it yet.
Yeah, it doesn't. It
okay.
absolutely doesn't.
Audrey still has the reviews to do, but otherwise,
Yeah.
the
Well, and
final
we have to
season of the
watch
nine
it. I
rounds.
mean, that's not.
But at the same time, we already watched it. Now we just need to talk about it, and afterwards, maybe we'll probably do like a summary episode later down the road, and then that's it. Nine Realms is over. It's
Nice.
done.
HC, I
Mhm.
need to deal with Tom and June shippers on the wiki for the next 2 months at least.
That's your life choices, not
Yes.
mine. I'm free.
Do you know when they're gonna come back? They're gonna come back when Audrey releases her reviews.
Oh my god.
No.
You're right
Well,
though.
but either way, Nine Realms, for all intents and purposes, has aired its final season. It's over. And is it just me, or does this not feel like it's been only 2 years since the show premiered? It feels like it's been a lot longer than that.
It
It's been
has and
2
it's
years?
yeah, it has and it's funny because it's for a show that releases every 3 months, you wouldn't think that it would feel so long.
Wow.
Mhm.
I thought it
But
was
it did.
before COVID that it started.
Nope.
No, it
No.
was December
2020.
2021.
Yep.
Mhm.
Wow.
It feels like it was though, right? It feels like it was like from 2019 or something. And nope, it's not even 2 years old at the time of this recording. Like next week, it will be officially 2 years
Well,
old. But either way,
well, I suppose that it's mostly because Rescue Riders was 2019, so it might just feel like
yes,
both spin-offs just happened at the same time,
ish. But
ish.
anyway, the it doesn't matter now. We are about to talk about the final season. As per usual, we'll start with a bit of a non-spoilery chat and telling you general thoughts about the season, and then we're gonna move on to spoilers. We're gonna let you know. And I just want to say, I've never felt so weirded out by my opinions on a season of this show because for the record, it's not good, okay? Let's not mince words here. It's not good. However, I was surprised by how quote unquote technically competent this one was. Again, in terms of this show. Like, if you had to tell me choose a four worst seasons of this show and four that weren't as bad, this would probably fall into not as bad side, but at the same time, the ending in general, the fact that this is the last season made me hate the show a lot more. Like, as a
Can
season
you
on its own, it was but because it's the finale, it's terrible as a finale. It's a terrible finale.
can you explain a little more what you mean with technically decent? I don't. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, what I mean by technically is that because they only have 6 episodes and they need to wrap that shit up, there wasn't much of there was, but it didn't feel like there was. Besides episode 2, I want to say nothing felt like we could have skipped this. This is just pointless bullshit
Oh, okay.
filler.
Yeah.
In terms of the general plot of the show, the 6 episodes were focused on the main plot, which is weird for this show. Not to say that it makes it good, but it's an improvement
I feel
somewhat.
like we could have skipped episode 1 as well, to be honest.
Mm,
I
Like
can
what
see
did they
that.
do? Anyway, we'll talk about it, but
yeah.
whatever.
So
Episode 1 has my favorite joke in the entirety of the show. So
we'll
no.
get
Ooh,
we'll get there.
ooh, I'll
But
be interested in that.
I
They could have
guess
moved that to a different episode then.
but
Hold on, no, not just the joke. It has the most beautiful moment in the entire show.
well,
But we'll
we'll
talk
I'm
get
about
really
it.
there.
curious now.
We'll get there. But Toriel, on that general non-spoilery thoughts on this season.
It was a fever dream, and the fact that I watched it at 2 a.m. didn't help. But I don't know if surprised is the right word, but I felt a very weird way watching this compared to all the other seasons. I cannot put that into words. It just felt not real, like an actual dream. Like I was dreaming this. Did that really happen, or did I imagine it?
Well, Audrey, I'm
That
curious because we
one
had a bit of a
one
talk.
one
Oh, sorry.
thing. Sorry. But at the same time, this had some things that I liked, um, excluding that moment that we'll get to in a second. And the finale was the most um predictable, non-predictable thing in the world.
Hmm. I would agree with that. So, Audrey, I had a talk with you before, a day before, where I held myself to say I tried not to spoil you anything because you haven't watched the season yet. Now you did. What did you think?
Well, I completely agree with Tauriel whenever she says that this season felt really different compared to all the others, because from the very beginning, every time I sit down to watch a new season of this show, I just get this overwhelming feeling that there's a smugness coming from it. Like, yeah, you may think we don't know what we're doing and that all this is bullshit, but we're building to something really, really extravagant and cool, and it's all going to be worth it by the very end. And now we're at that finale, and it is. And I said this whenever it was announced that it was going to be the final season. I feel like it's going to be the most lackluster conclusion to any show I've ever seen in my life, and I wasn't wrong. It
Yeah.
was. It was pretty just I feel like I watched the showrunners give up in the middle of this season because they ran out of time. They had to wrap everything up. They didn't know how to do it, so they just dropped everything. It's like they had every single plot, B device, character in their arms and they were sprinting towards the finish line the entire season, and they were dropping shit along the way like fuck that, I can't keep carrying this, and they got to the end and they had fucking nothing.
That's actually something I want to say. There were interesting ideas introduced in this season that should have been introduced way earlier, not in the final season, and they just brushed them to the side after one episode.
Well, they don't explain anything either.
Yeah,
There's no lore that's introduced here that we spend any time on. It's just stuff that people mention, and then we spend an entire episode on this one thing, whether it be a place or an object. But we never understand the significance of that object. We're just told that it's important, and then we move past it because they gotta finish the fucking series.
yeah. Wolf, what did you think?
Let Ian go first. I'll wait to the
Oh
end.
boy. Oh, have you got something special?
No.
I'm interested now. But
I never have anything
oh no.
special.
Okay. Um, I don't know. I agree with everything. Right? It was way more plot related, and they were finishing up a lot of loose ends, and obviously they had to because it was last season. It did feel like um somewhere along the line they heard that they didn't get a ninth season, so they just had to rush everything into a eighth season. And another thing is that it's fairly predictable as it was going to be soppy towards the end, right? So I don't think that's much of a spoiler. But um, normally I'm a bit of a sucker for those kind of endings. Like I'll sob,
Mhm.
but honestly, with this one, I just couldn't care. I was
Yep.
just straight face. I was like, of course
I
they do
can
this, of course they do that. I don't care.
I can tell you they'll be screaming about this when we get there.
I have one
Oh
thing
boy.
to add to what he just said too, because I completely agree with the statement that it felt like they originally had more seasons, but they got cut or something and they had to wrap it up a lot sooner. I have a note that says this feels like the reverse Race to the Edge, where it was Race to the Edge had
Yeah.
4 seasons originally, and then they got greenlit for another 2, so they got to expand the story beyond where they planned to stop. So you got all this extra detail. But with this, it seems like the opposite effect, where they planned to have it go on for longer, but it got cut so short that they had to wrap everything up. And so I mean, I really just want to sit down and make a list of all the things that they've introduced in this show and the dragons and plot lines that are just never going to have a conclusion because it ended so soon. I feel like it's pretty expansive.
Even with all the things that they did, there's still some questions I have at the end, and not even minor characters, like proper characters. And I'm like, well, how did this end now?
Remember that
It's
asteroid?
strange.
The fuck happened to that guy?
Yeah, it's like we'll get to it, but
It passed the Earth and went on its way because it didn't crash. It just passed by the Earth. So it's I don't know, near the sun now maybe, or on Mars.
It
And
caused a
so-
dimensional shift that made everyone so stupid that they
All praise. All
just
hail.
just to add salt to my own wound, the fact that the Nine Realms season 8 was announced the day my favorite show was cancelled.
oof. I mean, it could be worse. It released on my birthday, so it could be
Yeah.
worse. Although actually, it's kind of a gift because they ended it. So
Still
I
really
got
it's
the
a-
game released on my birthday, so
Oh. Double-edged sword, though. So, Wolf, it's time. You
yeah,
can't hide.
I wish I could. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna disagree with Audrie and I believe it was Tauriel about the ending. I think a lot of the season just feels. I walk away disappointed, and that shouldn't be news with this show, right? And it isn't. But also, this season just feels like it takes everything that came before it and says, "Yeah, none of that really mattered at the end of it all. Here's this. We're done. Bye." And it's like, I don't know. I just kind of walk away feeling disappointed by it. Just overall, just ugh. Just like, yay, it's done, but also, ugh. I dislike that this is the last thing we have of How to Train Your Dragon until the live action.
it could
And
be
who-
worse. It could be the Rescue Riders finale.
Well, no,
Riders
Rescue
was
Riders
good.
is done.
I mean,
I
Rescue
will-
Riders didn't have much to wrap up,
But
did they?
even that, right?
No.
Rescue Riders never claimed to be anything that it wasn't, right? You knew what it
Yeah.
was
I
going
haven't
into
seen
it.
Rescue Riders, but I don't feel as offended since that isn't technically part of the canon universe. And I know we have differing opinions on that, but
Oh, mate, you don't know.
I know. But this, I mean, canonically speaking, within the show, this is set in the Dragons universe, and it's
And
tied
it made a
directly to
big
it.
deal about that too. Like that's the big thing.
Yeah.
It made a really big deal, and at the end, it didn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess
None
Rescue
of
Riders
it
didn't make a
mattered.
big deal out of it.
None of it.
Which we'll
Have-
talk about once I'm sure
But
we get to the
it
end of
did-
the season. But
Yeah, I have a rant, but I will say that I kind of my fiance was asking me for opinions after I finished it, and I told her nothing mattered at the end. The show doesn't fucking matter. There was no point for it. And
But-
she said, well, no, it did fed animators. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Animators were fed. That's the only point of existence. But the thing is, every animated show feeds its animators to some degrees. So in terms of the plot and the overall world, this show had no fucking purpose.
Hey, it kept the Dragons
think-
franchise alive for a little longer. I mean,
I think it's a good thing that at the end it doesn't matter, because do you really want to see a sequel of this?
I'll tell you what, on
What
that,
have to do
I
that?
prefer. It's not really a matter that I want to see a sequel or anything, but I'm also saying, you know what? If you took upon yourselves to say we are going to do a modern day continuation of How to Train Your Dragon, I don't care if it's the most terrible thing on earth, which you could argue it was, or if it's gonna be the most brilliant thing ever. Stand your ground about it. Don't just make something for the hell of it, and try, and especially again, try to push it as, we discovered the dragons all those years after the third movie, and then just do nothing with it.
yeah, I mean, you think they would at least try to do something profound within the franchise if they're so dead set on having the show take place within it. And even with other examples at DreamWorks, and I know it's kind of apples and oranges with TV shows and movies, but you had the new Puss in Boots movie that came out. No one was asking for a Puss in Boots sequel 11 years after the first one that not very many people even liked. And it ended up being one of the best movies, not even just animated movies, one of the best movies of last year. And everyone agreed that it was
Okay.
incredible. So
so good.
I
I
have
watched
to
it
see
like
that.
a couple weeks ago. It's still good.
I mean,
it's incredible. And no one thought it was going to be because it was just some like second-rate Puss in Boots sequel,
And
to,
again,
like, which is a
it-
spin-off to a franchise that is really successful at DreamWorks, which is
I mean,
like
first
relatively
time-
similar to the Nine Realms situation, but they actually did things really, really well. It was good quality, and
which
people
is
loved
also
it for it.
interesting. Yeah, which is also interesting because Puss in Boots 2 was actually, you say 11 years after, though during those 11 years it actually went through development hell, and I think it was even canceled at some point. They really took their time and put a lot of effort into making it a reality, and the results paid off immensely.
wasn't How to Train Your Dragon as well technically in like
Um,
development hell?
like in a
To
way,
some degree, yes.
in a way, yes.
Yeah.
But what I mean though, because what happened with that is, at least at the final year and a half of production before the release date, they told the Dean and Chris, "Listen, this needs a page one rewrite." So in that way, yeah. But 11 years of development since the first one came out into a sequel that nobody really asked for, that's something else.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, I think what works for it is that they just let loose like all of the, not necessarily stereotypes, but all of the things people think about Puss in Boots. They just kind of let that loose and just kind of went, how about we go into this way a little more?
Mhm.
Regardless,
Yeah, I don't think that's a discussion we should be having right now.
yeah, because I was about to say, regardless of what, we all kind of walked out. You know, it's not even that it was such a bonkers finale that we can say this was terrible, and we can, like, I'm a bit mad at the ending into some degree, but not to the level that the rest of the show made me mad. But the finale just made me mad about the entire show even more. So
I
it's
would have
weird.
I would have
It's
liked
really
it
weird.
and respected it more if they would have just sequel baited us, knowing that they're not going to get anything else ever again. I would have.
I feel
I
like
would have
they
respected
did.
it more. I don't.
I
I
might be
guess,
alone in this
but-
because I talked to HC a little bit about this before I saw it, but I had a prediction that they were going to end on sequel bait, and I feel like they kind of did. They
In a
left a
way-
lot of stuff open.
In a
I
way,
guess.
yeah. But the thing
Well,
is,
yeah,
I
but
don't
then-
feel
Don't think that was intentional.
that's
It
No.
exactly
probably
it.
was not, but
It
I'm sure they
feels-
did it just in case. Like, well, hey, Camp Cretaceous is getting a sequel, so we might as well do one.
Yeah, I have a note for the final episode that this is Camp Cretaceous 2.0, but worse. But the way I think about the most things that were left open-ended is that they didn't know how to end them.
And
Okay,
still,
but did you see the drawings in the credits? I'm just saying. No, I'm not saying more. I'm just asking.
I mean, fair.
They
I
could have
think they
done
did.
those after they animated the episode anyway, because
Mhm.
those are just sketches.
Honestly,
yeah,
just give us the
So-
sketches for the entire show, and then don't do anything else, and that's a better show.
Yeah. Well, so I think
Honestly, the sketches were cool.
Honestly,
the
some
record,
concept art.
I don't remember, but I think at this point, guys, I think we kind of settled the entire non-spoilery thing. We can just move on to the spoilers, and
Yeah, I
that way
have
we
one
can talk a
more
bit more.
thing to say for the
Mm.
season in general, if
Yeah.
you don't mind.
Mhm.
So up until now, except for perhaps the first season, every single season made me sensory overload, and this one went into the negative side. So this one went so far over the top that it went to minus infinity somehow.
Well, I guess it's an achievement on its own.
Yes.
Well,
Like,
so non-spoilers are over. If you haven't seen the season yet, don't. But if you're really into this because you are too far down the rabbit hole like we are, this is your chance to close the video, go watch the season, and then come back for the spoilers. Spoilers are starting in 3, 2, 1. Still here? All right, let's do this. Episode 1.
Can we start with the ending? With the ending of episode 1, I mean.
You know what? Might as well. I think, you know what? I only know Tauriel's reaction. Audrie, go.
We're referring to Tom and June, right?
Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I actually need to make this statement right now. I didn't think that June was as much of a bitch in this season as she has been the previous ones. I thought she was a lot more toned down, and it almost gave me the impression that this is the June that the writers thought that they were writing the entire time.
Ooh.
I really think
Agreed.
so, because there's a couple of times where she reverts back to bitch mode, and I'm like, oh, there's the June I know and hate so much. But I mean, for the most part, she was relatively toned down. I think it's also more because they had so much shit going on with ending the show that they just didn't give her the time to be a bitch. But
Okay, so you're saying they should have put less effort into June's writing?
yes, exactly. Because look what happens when they fucking put effort into it. You get episodes like Snow Kano and Hearts
Yeah.
of Heroes and
Okay, I
bullshit.
see.
But
I see. Is it the hello fellow kids kind of thing then? Maybe they try too hard.
They
And-
didn't have a centric episode this season. That's the best thing about this season.
that's very true. And just in terms of everything that happens with her and Tom in episode 1, I was kind of hoping we were going to get into the plot first because I feel like it's relevant to that, but just as a generalized version, Tom gets into some shit that she tells him not to get into. It is the exact same copy and pasted. We're a team.
Yes.
We have to do things as a team. And then
Yes,
someone goes off
since
and does
season
something not as a
2.
team. Since
Since-
every single season of this show has done this. So they do
Yeah.
it again, of course.
And it's
And-
always, and it seems to be with Tom the most when I think about it.
He's done it like 25 times, and I don't know why they're still surprised. But June gets angry
Did
at
you
him.
count?
No, but
Did you count
I'm
them?
sure I underestimated. But at the end of this episode in particular, June confronts him about it, and instead of just getting into another regular argument about it, she breaks up with him. And listen, I'm sure this would be more profound if I cared about their relationship to begin with, which I didn't. But even so, I was just not even paying attention. I was
my note-
laughing. I was
no.
laughing at the fact that they've been together for less than one fucking
And-
season and they're
and-
already broken
Oh,
up.
damn, you're
And
right.
not only that, my note here on this was actually her breaking up with them is actually the healthiest thing she's done in the entire relationship.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I can beat you on that note.
Yeah,
Let me read my notes.
Yeah, it's not a
Let
competition,
me
but
read
go.
my notes. Let me read my notes because I was writing as I was watching the scene.
Yeah.
First, June, you of all people have no right to be mad at Tom for lying to you. You've lied much more. Tom and June Tom and June breaking up is my Roman Empire.
That's
Hold on.
I-
Grinning like an idiot during the breakup. It's so beautiful. Could you even imagine Tom and June as parents?
No.
uh,
I do also love that.
I have one more. I have one more note, and I'll shut up, please.
mhm.
The breakup song is perhaps the most beautiful soundtrack I've ever heard in the 9 realms. I wanted to play at my wedding.
God. I mean,
Yes.
I wrote down, yes, Tom and June is done. Why no party music? But yeah, I guess that's also a.
I love that they ended the entire episode on like the most somber. It's
Yeah.
heartbreaking. They ended they went to credits like that, and I'm just sitting
Yeah.
there like, yeah.
No, I felt like I'm watching this scene from the first Shrek movie, like the Hallelujah song, the scene with the Hallelujah song, but instead of being, no, I want them to be together because it's not right like this. I'm like, yeah, Hallelujah, indeed. Bitch left them. Let's go.
I
I
also
also
love
have
how they
you say first.
they
Yep.
so her whole argument is like, oh man, how dare you go save the dragons after we told you to not, and then calls him selfish, and I'm just like, wait, you say selfish, but he tries to help other, you know, dragons. That doesn't sound too selfish, but whatever. It's fine.
I think what they're trying to do, and again, they've done this
No,
like
no, it's
I don't know
against
how
June,
many
so
times.
it's valid.
But again, they're trying to do this like because they've done this so many fucking times that it's like,
That's valid.
oh, he's selfish because he thinks he's better than us, that he can take on missions solo without us. That's the thing.
I don't even
I
think
assume.
she said that this time.
The reason she thought he was selfish is because if he died, she would feel sad.
Oh, I see.
Probably.
Wait,
Fucking
Hold on
probably.
a second. That's a bit of a paradox, isn't it?
N- it's it goes to show how much June is insufferable. Anyway, Wolf, you've been quiet about this.
I have one last note, I promise. But this is for Audrie. I wrote it at 2 a.m., so don't judge me. Audrie, please recreate the season 5 edit of Tom finding out he's related to Hiccup, but with the breakup. Please, I'm begging
gotta
you.
do that,
I'll
damn it.
give you money. I'll give you money to do it.
Hey, look, I put the video on Twitter so people could meme it if they wanted to, so go for it.
No, I'll give you money to do it because I have college. I cannot do it.
Okay, well.
Oh, wow.
So,
I'll
Wolf,
join
what do
your
you think?
I I'm with Audrey on this one. It's one of those things of like, okay, like they've been together for less than a season practically. I don't care. But also that's the theme of this season where, nothing matters because this doesn't last. They break up and they kind of stay broken up and distant for one episode. They'll be back. They'll do the, hey, is he thinking about me? Hey, is she thinking about me? 2 episodes from
It's
now.
just
Nothing
on the
matters.
one hand, we say it's a good thing, but at the same time, we all know because they could.
I would have
they're
given
like,
them.
shit. We need to do the he said she said bullshit, and
Oh,
will they one
I would
day?
have given them
So,
all of the money.
I
right?
have a better
if they would have
theory.
if they would have done anything different with it, but they didn't. So
I have a
it's
better theory that the
whatever.
reason they made them break up so early on, like in episode 1, is because they realized that it's impossible to write them in a healthy relationship, so they had to have them broken up for the rest of the season.
you're not wrong.
Thinking of
It
that,
was
I was
probably
like, oh,
healthier when they got together at the end than it was at any other point, and saying something, and then it's still not healthy because they're not good for each other at all.
Do they
I
even like each other? They act like they can't fucking stand each other.
Honestly, yeah, it's the most abusive relationship I've ever seen in animation.
This
And it's
season,
with kids.
I would say this season is probably the season where it looked like they got along the most, and they were broken up, supposedly quote unquote broken up for most of the season. But like
That's beautiful irony.
That says something.
Yeah.
I'd
So-
rather have them break up and have awkwardness than have them kiss every episode or something.
Well, that's for later.
But the more important thing to this episode, right? No one cares about Tom and June. No one cares about their relationship.
But we care about Hiccup. What the fuck was the point of that flashback?
Oh my god!
Oh,
Can we
man,
explain
wow,
the
yeah.
plot, like the center problem of this episode now, which is Jormungandr is loose in the hidden world. We do time jump from the end of season 7.
As normal.
And
yeah, they say like, oh, we've been trying to catch it. It's like, when? How? Show me.
we learned that Jormungandr has some type of poison breath that he like hurts dragons with, but it's never explained how they figured this out or what the gas even does. It just like makes them fall asleep and act sick.
Yeah.
And we learn all of this in the first minute and a half of the episode. And then we get to the how do we lure Jormungandr back to the cage in the the Dark Realm?
I think it. I. What is it called? Yeah, something like this. The Dark Realm, I think.
So they spend the entire episode trying to do that, and Tom does it by reading the dragon book, figuring out that Volka's staff is down there. He goes down, finds it, and is like, "This is what Hiccup used. It belonged to his mother." Tauriel, you doing okay there?
No, I wanted to add.
Slowly losing
I wanted
it.
to add the soundtrack for that bit. I felt like that needed a soundtrack.
I thought you were like growling because you were angry.
I
was like, no joke, I was grabbing the monitor of my laptop. I was doing, you're not fucking serious right now. because wait, because now you need to understand that now there's no way to argue this. It's not a drawing in a book or on a wall that seems like John Telegan self-inserted himself or anything. Hiccup is a physical character in this show.
Can we talk about those that I would have found that more interesting than what the show
I was about to get to it. That we see him. This is the first time we see a flashback of him, of something he's done in the hidden world.
Yes, we need to make it clear, guys. They do a flashback. We see Hiccup.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
isn't in the
We're
book.
we
not
Like, this is not
fucking
them looking in the
around.
Oh,
book.
his
They give
white
an
silhouette.
don't see his
actual flashback.
we don't see his face. He's not speaking, so it's not like they had to pay Jay Baruchel or something. But we
Not like
see
they were
him.
gonna. I mean, come on.
No, but we see him in the flesh. He's there. He's a physical character in the flashback, and they do absolutely nothing with it. Where I'm like, wait, why not? Why are you doing this only for one episode in the final season, where you could have actually benefited from doing it more previously? And that's when I had an epiphany, or as Hiccup actually says in Homecoming, and then it hit me, and I literally got smacked by myself. It seemed like they tried to do a hidden world ending fix-it fic, where yeah, Hiccup went back to the hidden world, he had the other adventures with Toothless, but we don't fucking
Sort of,
see it.
though.
I mean,
The
they've
show
already.
has been doing
Yes.
since the beginning, and
Yeah.
that's why I hate it so much.
There
No,
you go.
But here's
There
the
you
thing.
go.
They also confuse a couple things because he also wears his Viking helmet in the flashback, even though he's
Yeah.
never worn that after How to Train Dragon 1.
We need to describe that a little bit better because I have a note here that says it looks like they used AI to make a How to Train Your Dragon cutscene.
Oh yeah.
Like the animation is
yeah.
really blocky and generic, like AI looks, and
Mhm.
I couldn't get it out of my head. And there's no purpose to it. They could have just
Again,
said they could have said Hiccup did this and read it from the Dragon Book, and it would
Which is-
make no difference.
Which is what they've
or
been
if
doing.
you want to really show it,
Yes.
maybe
But
yeah,
they
maybe do like
legit went out of their way to give us an animated flashback with him in this show. The first one ever. And it's here for whatever reason.
Well, it's supposed to be
Not
the
even
epic last season,
cool.
right? I mean, this
Yeah,
is
it's
I
like-
guess, but it just makes zero sense when you've never done this before and you do it all of a sudden now.
Oh no, but it's the
Yeah,
epic last season.
ugh.
How I would summarize that flashback is somebody watched Razor Blades season 7 review with the animation at the end. Well, animation catches.
Yeah.
And said, okay, let's animate that, but without voice actors.
Yeah.
I
and,
swear to God. I
and
was
then
thinking of that.
and then there's also this thing where like Tom now feels like, okay, I'm Hiccup's descendant. I need to do what he did. And
Oh, I was
he's
gonna talk about that. Yeah, that
and-
was so
Mm.
annoying.
that for one, you can't tell me that the writers aren't trying to gaslight us with this fucking I'm not Hiccup emo speech. Enough. You're
Yeah.
not good at doing that.
No, they're not
The
trying
entire
to.
yeah.
They're
Good
not
at
trying
doing
to because later on in this very season.
Oh, wait,
Yep.
no, hey
Oh,
guys,
we'll get
I'm
there.
I'm telling you right now, do not bring up what happens in episode 6 until we reach episode 6
Yes.
because I'm going to go ham and I
All
don't want to
right.
do it too early.
I can't
Anyways.
By all
wait.
means.
At the beginning,
But,
Okay,
at the beginning of this
something else,
episode,
something
though,
else.
this entire episode begins with, they're trying to fight Jormungandr. He goes away. They sit down to try to figure out what's going on. Tom has the dragon book, and we do the exact same. You're not Hiccup. You tried that already. It didn't work. And Tom says, well, it's because I didn't train that it didn't work. Now I'm going to go train. First
Yeah.
off, we're really doing this fucking plot again. We've been doing it every episode since season 5. Second, what the hell has the book been for if you haven't been training? What
Well,
are
it
you
didn't-
talking about?
Yeah, and then there's this scene where like Thunder tries to make him feel better, and I'm like, what? and
Oh, boy.
and every time I see Tom trying to do something with the staff, I'm like, dude, you're not only are you not Hiccup, you're also not fucking Donatello. Stop
I
it.
have a note here. I have a note for this part. Tom
Right.
jumping around with the staff like Harry Potter on a broom.
It
I-
wasn't even
Oh,
like
I described
I-
that.
Maybe it's my Ninja Turtle fanboy, but I just saw Donatello like with the staff.
Oh no, I described it. I described it as third date, but the opposite.
No, the whole montage of him training with the staff, it's so dramatic and like it's literally a Rocky montage
But
of
I was
him
about to say,
twirling this fucking thing. And I just have to add this one thing. I was a color guard, winter guard girl in high school where we spun flags, and the entire time he was doing that, I was just picturing myself like doing the exact same shit and whacking myself in the eye trying to do it. And
I was about
it
to
made
say,
me laugh.
I
I
was about
said,
to say though, the one thing that could have saved that scene, I know it's not nunchucks, but the one thing that could have saved that scene is if he accidentally somehow hit himself in the balls. That would have
Oh,
saved
Jesus,
the
Oh,
specifically
Something
there.
else that
Okay.
almost happens in this episode. He almost gets stung in the balls by the death gripper, and I made a
Yeah.
note saying that was fucking
Oh, yeah,
awesome.
pretty much.
I,
I
I
also
like how
have
the
another
awesome part
note.
is the main character suffering. But
I also have another note. Tom, you're trying to hypnotize Jormungandr, not join the circus.
I
And
do also
also,
love.
Stupid.
there was that scene where the others were watching him hit himself, and then Eugene was mocking him, but he was with the back towards Tom, and then he was like turns around and says, "Oh, what were you doing? I was mocking you." And I was
Yeah.
like,
Hey,
"Shit, that's the
Gordon, I was
best
just
joke in the entire.
mocking you.
That's the best joke in the
I
entire
have a
show.
I have
am
a note that
sorry.
says thank you, Eugene, for mocking him. Someone needed to do it.
No,
Yeah,
but
I
just
also took note of that.
just
Yeah, it might be
avoiding
the best
that
joke of the series,
cliche.
in fact. Then.
Just avoiding that cliche when Tom asked him, "What are you doing?" and the cliche would have been, "Oh, I was just doing this thing," which isn't mocking you. But he said, "I was mocking you," and I was like, "Thank you, Eugene. I fucking love you
I
again."
had a lot of those moments this season with
Yep.
Eugene,
Yeah.
and
I will
Alex
say-
in particular.
yeah, again, Alex is the audience again to a lot of to everything.
yes.
And
So
we'll
the,
get
the one
to
thing
them.
I want to point out when they have they also released this as a clip before the season premiered, but there was the point like where they fight. I'm gonna butcher the name. Excuse me, I can't pronounce this name for the for me, but the humor ganger, whatever it's called.
Just call him Yorgi.
Jormungandr.
Let's call him.
Let's call him Yuri.
Yeah, let's call him Yule. Let's call him Yule because I need to
Why
think
not
about the
Yuri?
picture.
That sounds way more friendly.
Yuri, whatever.
Well, I think June even at one point calls
and
calls
that's
him
not
Yorgi
Yeah.
Yuri.
during the final battle.
So in that case, I need to call him Yuri because I'm not gonna respect June's nickname.
You,
So
HC, you make me think of Yuri Gagarin, and that's not a good thing.
who cares at this point? Anyway, Gorgi here. Let's call him Gorgi. So
Gorgi? They're
so
cute.
so Gorgi is after them, and they want to trap themselves in the cage he escaped from. And there's the point where the gate closes on Thunder's tail, and I'm like, is he gonna lose a tail fin? He better not lose a
Same.
tail fin.
I was
Is
thinking.
he? Are they actually gonna use that? And they didn't.
No, HC,
But-
that would have cost budget. So
Really care enough to like actually question that, but just some other stuff I have written down is I feel like the staff is going to mean nothing by the end of the episode. It didn't.
Mhm.
Yep.
Michael Bay's shaky cam at one moment, they tried to do
Yeah.
some camera movements that they've never done before, and it looks like shit, and I thought it was really funny. And
Oh,
they'll eat Hiccup's leg, but not Volka's staff. That's nice.
I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah, I have that.
wrote that down.
Yorgi
Yeah.
Also-
did bite it, and it
In-
looked like he destroyed it with his mouth. So I guess same thing.
No, he threw it away.
No, he
it
just
away.
threw it. It was fine.
Oh, so they just left it down. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Even
I
though the
don't
leg
know
was
if that's
full
better or
metal and,
worse.
the staffers would,
I don't know if that's
And I
better
love
or
that
worse.
June-
my note.
June
Yes,
gave
it.
Tom a stone at one point and says, "This is whatever the fuck crystal name."
Hematite.
Whatever.
I have a note about that because
Yeah.
June said hematite, and I heard hepatitis,
Oh.
and I was like, I
Negative.
wish that onto you, June.
Yeah, so June hands him this stone. It's when he's training with the staff, and she's like, "This will ground you. It will make your energy do some shit, whatever." And and June's like, "Whenever I'm feeling stressed or like I'm going out of control, I just hold this stone, and then it grounds me, and I feel way better." And I'm like, "Where the fuck has that stone been for the past 8 seasons? Because you've been a total bitch this entire time, and I have not seen you break that shit out once. You should have."
Yep.
I
Uh,
have
so-
in my notes 20-minute tangent about the Purple Death, which was also a world serpent defeated via hypnosis,
Hmm.
which I started last podcast, but now that they brought hypnosis into it, I have to say that they plagiarized the comics. And because the comics aren't as well known as Race to the Edge, for example, the most fans will think this is a Nine Realms unique thing.
For the
And I'm
record,
like,
she's talking
no.
about the writers of Berg Defenders of Berg comic, not
Yeah,
the
the
not
writers
Serpenser
of
and
Berg,
Oh,
Oh.
okay.
yeah, the writers of Berk comic titled The Legend of Ragnarok.
Oh boy.
They're
Fuck
plagiarizing
me.
their own franchise.
Nice.
Wow.
Fuck me. I
Right.
have it, but I'm not gonna bring it out now. But in short, there's this giant water dragon, like a red death, but aquatic, which is called a purple death because it's purple. And it's
Okay.
bigger than the entire island of Berk. And it woke up due to an earthquake or something. And it starts attacking Berk and destroying everything. And Hiccup trained a changeling, which has the hypnosis ability, to hypnotize the dragon and make it fall asleep again. And I'm like, God damn you guys! At least plagiarize Race to the Edge so that people know you're plagiarizing.
Yeah, they're trying to be sneaky about it now.
Well,
Mhm.
Yeah.
look, it could be the
But
same
they
dragon, to be
plagiarized.
honest.
They
After 1,000
plagiarized
years, he could have lost a
Incantation.
lot of weight.
So, anything else to say about episode 1, or should we move on to episode 2? Because this episode is just
Episode 1 can be summarized as that flashback would be more interesting as a show or an episode than what this would be.
Yep.
Yes.
I'd
So,
rather
And also,
not.
in the end, it doesn't matter.
I'd rather
Honestly.
have 0 flashbacks with Hiccup than 1 flashback in this show. Like, this show doesn't deserve to have a Hiccup flashback.
I think what he meant is that it would be more interesting if the entire show were these flashbacks, not like have Tom and June and forget that.
Yeah.
Make a show that's just post Hidden World about Hiccup exploring it.
I don't care
Yeah,
if
I
it
just
completely
want
goes against
Berkcast.
the third movie. It would have been better
Let's-
than this.
Let's just have the collective agreement that everything Hiccup wrote in the Dragon Book was bullshit, and he just did it to troll his descendants.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
It,
absolutely.
it felt,
Yeah,
you know,
it is. Hold on. I have one last note from this episode, which is a nitpick. I wasn't going to bring it up, but since you brought this up, Audrey, why the fuck is there a leg skeleton on the page about Jormungandr when it's a snake?
Is there really?
Yeah.
Yes.
there
There's
is.
an
Oh
image of a
my
leg.
god, they're trolling us. Fuck this show. They're
So-
doing it to piss us off.
So now, moving on to episode 2, the great Foster fake out. Olivia, I forgot Tom had a parent.
I was gonna say, hey, Olivia isn't dead from a ketamine overdose. She's back. I
Okay,
don't know what
so
the-
She's
I have to
pretty
say,
hard in
I
this
just-
season.
can I take this one because holy shit, there's a person, an actual human being that's funding and running this research station and can actually shut them down if they feel like if this person feels like they are wasting money and there's no progress being made. This person Rocky is about to show up and they are stressed to show him the dragons. I just have to
Rocky?
say, yeah, I
Rake.
just have to say, I don't care. I like to call him Rocky.
Fair.
Mr. Rake. For
Rake.
context, people
Mr.
who
Rocky.
don't know the show, the entire corporation that is funding
Rafiki.
Project Icarus is Rake Corp. This is the guy in charge of it,
Yes.
Mr. Rake.
Yes.
I
It's,
just like
it's
to call,
also
I
placed
like
in
to call-
Rake
but I
Town.
just want to say I like to
Sure.
call him Rocky because it feels more fitting for his character.
Nah, and
That's fair.
he's Rafiki.
I call him
Hmm.
I call him the helicopter guy from Jurassic World
Hmm?
because
Okay.
he's the has any of you seen Jurassic World?
Yeah.
I've seen, I
Yep.
forgot, but anyway, my
Yeah,
point.
so I
Can I
called
just
this
finish this
episode
because I really want to get
Oh,
into
okay.
this. I want to rip into
Okay.
this for a second because
Okay,
that
I'll
was
let you.
for one, I don't know, but there is something about his character design, be it the skin color and a bit of the hair, that looks like somebody did a caricature of me. And I asked people, and they're like, "Okay, if you were an anime character, this is what you would look like." So
Damn.
I don't know what kind of black magic they tried to get a hold of what I look like, but okay, I'll take the compliment, I guess. 2, this is the last fucking guy that should run any kind of corporation, maybe after Elon Musk, but like this guy runs this place like I would run it, which is not good because I'm not a scientist, but like
Yeah.
because he also think I know that it's part of the joke, but any guy who would think that that Eugene is the smartest of them dude, you need to check yourself a bit, okay? And
I
he's just like, because I also just love this concept that finally, after all of this time where these adults were probably getting high and masturbating to anything instead of
Mhm.
actually doing work, is finally they're like, oh, this person is coming. We need to show him progress. We need to show what we actually do. And they actually have
Wait,
nothing to
what?
show, and he calls them on it. And then he's like, okay, I guess it's fine. Like, this entire plot is pointless, even though it could have carried the entire show. This episode baffles me on so many levels, to the point that I even noticed that at one point he goes into an elevator without his jacket, but when he leaves the elevator, he has the jacket on.
Mhm.
Wait,
This
what?
is
Yeah.
bonkers.
He had his
Really?
jacket off. Yeah, he had his jacket off when he wrecked the ATV and they came in. They got in the elevator. His jacket was still off. When he got out of the elevator, his jacket was back on again.
Yeah.
Nice.
I
He has
have
a-
a note here because I think May was the one saying, "Oh, he's been skeptical about our work here," and I'm like, "No shit, he's been
Yeah.
skeptical, you bitches. What is your purpose here?"
Can I
Yeah.
can I go off about this episode now?
Sure.
Yeah, I was about to ask. The magma breeder is here, so you were probably happy.
I was extremely happy about that. He actually plays a role in the episode too, so I was very happy to see Magma Chonker back. This
Chonky boy.
episode, I think we mentioned it earlier. It didn't feel like it really fit in this season with everything else they were doing. I know they have to break stuff up and add stuff for comedic relief, whatever. This felt like a very sitcom-y type episode. Just in general, the plot is Mr. Rake comes to Icarus and, like we described, wants to know what's going on. And instead of the adults, taking this billionaire who's in charge of the entire company funding this project, instead of the adults taking him around and being like, let us handle this, for some reason they have the children give him a tour. And like you
Yeah.
described, have Eugene kind of be the one who takes him through everything. And I do have a note that says I love how good at bullshitting Eugene is, because it's
Mhm.
very entertaining to watch. But
Oh,
my biggest
also,
problem,
shouldn't Mr. Rake have like 20 bodyguards guarding him? Like he
you
shouldn't
would
just
think,
walk around
You
like
would
that.
think.
yeah, they're letting him ride around on ATs and crash
No,
into
actually,
fucking ravines.
Shit!
my
What?
my headcanon
Like-
my headcanon is that because he actually wanted to shut down the research facility so he could afford bodyguards. It was just a bit above, but then we saw that it's actually going well, quote unquote. So he decided, no bodyguards, I can do fine.
Eugene convinced him, man.
Yeah.
Don't know what's
Yeah,
happening
well-
here, but that kid's got his finger on the pulse. He's there. It's all good.
Okay, my biggest issue with this episode, though, is that Mr. Rake is really set up. Sorry, Toast just jumped on my keyboard, of course. Get down! My biggest problem with this episode is that Mr. Rake is supposed to be this really ominous figure where if he finds out what's going on, shit is going to go down and it's going to be really bad for them. But he's not a threat. He's really like fun and easygoing. And Tom even says at one point, maybe we can trust him with the secret. He seems cool, which is dumb, and Olivia's right to tell him fucking no. But I didn't feel any sense of threat anytime he almost discovered the dragons, because he's not threatening. We don't know what he's gonna do if something bad happens, and at the end it doesn't even end up mattering because we don't see him or hear from him again for the rest of the fucking season.
Yeah.
What was even
They
better
had very
though?
little time to bring him back in their defense.
I mean, still, yeah. What was even better though is like in order to try and make him still feel threatening, because they knew what they were going to do with him this episode. You'll have him go from like, oh, I'm jovially talking, making jokes, haha, this is funny. I'm only joking, but I could be serious. It's like with a little music sting to go with it too, and I'm like, really? Okay.
But we don't know that. We don't know what he's capable
Yeah,
of
I
because
know,
we've never
but-
seen him before.
But again, like they've tried to make him this shadow background thing that's going to be really threatening to all of the dragons, and it would ruin everything for the dragons. And yet we get him here, and it's like, shrug, like
I also love that there's this like very just so at one point, fairly early on, Tom goes, maybe we should tell Mr. Rake about the dragons. And there's just this very there's this comment from I think Tom that he just says, "But Mr. Ray cares about the environment," and I noted down, yeah, sure he does, and then it's never mentioned again that he wants to tell about the
Yeah.
dragons. It's just like
Honestly,
it's
I think he
mentioned once,
should
and then
because it can't go any worse
whatever.
than anything else.
Well,
Uh,
don't you guys understand? That's this show's big environmental message. That one line. Duh.
Yeah. Because
You
again,
know, they're
kids,
tackling major issues like climate change and animal
yeah, like
rights.
kids
no,
these days
Mr. Ray
care
might care
about
about the
this.
environment though. Big Corp might care about the environment. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
No, I'm quoting John Telligan whenever he was doing interviews talking about how profound the messages
Oh,
in the show were going to be. He said that, and then he
yeah,
didn't
I
do
know.
shit with it.
Yeah.
My
Oh.
notes for this episode are Twinsanity and Jurassic Park in the blender. And at the beginning, it was that one scene with Sled Bitch and Buzzsaw, and my
Oh
note for
yeah,
that is
that was
Oh, I
hold on,
forgot they
hold
were
on,
in
hold
there.
on.
Actually.
My note for that is bitch versus asshole. Place your bets now.
Oh, also, actually, about Buzzsaw and Slat Bitch. Uh, Buzzsaw in this episode has a new dragon with him. Just no explanation. There's no Jack. There's just another dragon with him.
when Jack comes back.
Yeah,
Jack doesn't
but
have
not in this
space in
episode.
the lab though. Like
No,
that.
he has a different dragon in the lab. I'm pretty sure with him.
Yeah, I think it was like a captured dragon.
Yeah, he was
It
trying to
wasn't in a
sell it.
cage or
Yeah, he was
something.
trying to
Was it?
sell
Yeah.
it according to him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
This
mean-
brings up to what I wanted to
There was
say.
no Jack.
Since when did this fucker start selling dragons?
Who is
Listen,
he
that-
selling them to? Is the better question.
Like it's like, oh shit, Audrie called us out for him being like a dagger. Let's make him Vigo. That will subvert expectations. But why? No questions.
A
He's Vigo.
dumb Vigo Dagger Walmart brand mix. That's
No,
that's
yeah.
Buzzsaw right there.
Corgi was Figo in disguise, but we'll get to that.
I love that he's apparently selling them only to people who are either in the 9 realms or and that's it. So basically his clients are his 2 goons, Sled Bitch and her
Enigma.
assistant, and that's it. Like those are the 4 people he can sell to. Because he
I
can't
love
sell
that.
to
And
anyone in
the,
Ranktown.
I
We
love
don't
that the
go-
beginning and end of this episode is so pointless. We just see Sled Bitch yelling at a rock, and like that's how the episode
I
starts. That's
have-
how it ends. She doesn't do shit.
There's like there's
I
no
have a
there's no
perfect
connection
note
to
for
anything.
that. Let me find it. I have a perfect note for that. Oh, did Sled Bitch just become the female version of Gollum with the dragon sight as the One Ring?
Literally, yes. That's her entire character this season.
Oh,
There's
Scientist
also a
lady.
line where Mr. Rake says, "Shouldn't you kids be in school?" And I'm like, they go to school still since fucking when? We haven't seen them
Oh,
in
yeah,
school
good
They
since
point.
went
season
once. They
Like,
went once in season 2, and that was it.
yeah, like
Oh,
And
Season 2,
now,
didn't they go in season 1 as well?
no,
Oh,
they
yeah.
never went in season 1 because I remember yelling about it.
yeah, no, in
Oh,
season
okay,
one,
well,
no,
fair enough.
I think season 2 is the only one where we
Yeah.
actually see them do school stuff.
Yeah, the
No,
Alex
it's not even. It's
episode.
not season. Well,
Yeah,
fuck, I can't
it
remember the
does.
name. It's that
Yeah,
episode
it
with all
was
the dead
Dragons of the
feather
Undead.
tails.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
it's
Dragons
season
of the
2.
Undead. It
Mhm.
was the one with Alex when she
Yeah,
was
I
afraid
remember.
of
No,
public
I remember
speaking.
I remember the episode. I just couldn't remember what season it was from. But anyways, this I love how it is canonically confirmed with the way June was handling Mr. Rake in the elevator that June is a really great gaslighter canonically.
Yeah.
Because she's like, "What do you mean? I don't hear any dragons. What are you talking about?"
Wait,
But
who
Yeah.
knew this?
I will say this episode does have.
What?
I just want to say there's one actually funny scene in this episode, and that's when Mr. Rake opens the door and Thunder fucking shoots him with electricity and turns him a Super Saiyan for some reason. And then when he wakes up, it's like, "Are you kidding me? This is wonderful! I love it! Yeah,
Oh
you
my
get the
God.
you get the funding! Yeah." It's
I
like,
love it.
My
Science.
favorite scene when is when the alarms were going off and Phil said, "Oh, you cannot crack the security of this place," and Alex was like, "I just did it," and then Phil was looking at her like, "What the fuck?"
That was incredible.
No.
Yeah.
It was. What was it? We can't go through Ray Corp security or something. And
It's
it's like, give me a
impossible.
minute. I
Yeah.
mean, I'll give it my best try.
Yeah.
And
Alex
also,
is such a queen.
there's a line by Mr. Rake that I laughed at it. I know it's stupid, but I still laughed at it. Best of luck to you ladies with your parasites.
Yeah, that
I
was funny.
I also
That
love
was
that.
funny.
Uh,
I don't know why.
so Mr. Ray crashed in one of the cars, right? In
Yeah.
in whatever you call them, the
ATVs.
quads. A what
What?
now?
ATV.
ATV.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just call it a quad. And so he crashes it, and it's like a big deal. He needs to go to the the infirmary to get
Oh.
looked at. And in the end, he just gets like one band-aid or something.
It's a kid's
And
band-aid as well. It was pink with flowers or something.
yeah,
This
and
whole
I just
episode was
wrote
so
down
fucking stupid.
I just
Yeah,
wrote down a note. I just wrote down Mr. Rake had a boo-boo.
My favorite part of the entire episode, and this was very cathartic with how much I hate June, was I wrote down at the end of the episode when Mr. Rake leaves, everything's fine, and May comes up and commends June and Eugene for working together. And she's like, I've never been more proud of you. And I said, lol, June's mom is proud of them when they lie and manipulate their asses off. I can see why she turned out the way she is.
yeah.
Oh. It's
To be honest, I
Wow,
thought she was
yeah.
just gonna say this is the first
Wow.
time I was proud, full stop.
Damn.
God.
I've never been more proud of you. You lied and manipulated your ass off today. Good job.
And you
Yeah,
did it
that-
You're
together.
natural.
Yeah, they
what
did it
type
together.
of job will June have when she grows up?
Oh
Like,
god, I don't even want to know.
Also, at
what
the end,
what can she be? Maybe a librarian. That would be the best case scenario, I guess. But
Mhm.
I doubt it with her mom wanting her to be a CEO or whatever the plot from season 3 episode 2 that was never mentioned again.
You
Hey,
actually bring up a
let's-
really good point because that's one thing, and I can just say this across the entire show. That maybe this is for the retrospective video, but that is one of my biggest issues, especially with the fact that it's ending. We know so little about even our main characters to this day. We don't know what they're passionate about besides like their generic interest. The only person that we really know is D'Angelo. He wants to be a vet. The rest of them, I couldn't fucking tell you what they're gonna do in 10 years. And I think that that's important when they're your main characters and we've been following them for 8 seasons and we still to this day know so little about them
Like-
and where they're possibly going to
Yeah.
go. It's sad.
Yeah.
Audrey,
And especially because
Audrey.
the show does kind of bring this up near the end of like, where are they gonna go now? We don't know.
We've
So-
literally
is it,
made
Tauriel?
the joke so many like
Audrey,
Go
Audrey.
ahead.
Did you hear the last line of the show?
Which one? That Tom and June are going to stay together?
No. When Tom asked his mom if he
Oh,
could,
to fly
if
the
she could teach
helicopter?
him
Yeah.
to, yeah.
Yeah, I
Maybe
was about to
that's
say that.
we're
I was
gonna
about to say
save
that.
it. We're gonna save it.
No, you said what are they going to do in the future besides D'Angelo? That's what he's going to do. He's gonna be a pilot because he mentioned it one time in
God
season
help
2.
our
and-
entire planet if that
But-
actually happened.
But still that comes
No,
back to like
it's a
we
good
don't-
thing because think about it. If he learns it from Olivia and he's reckless, he's gonna crash on day 1 and he'll die, and
They
he won't
did!
continue Jacob's bloodline.
I almost did.
They
Yeah.
did. That's how
Yeah,
the
they-
show ends. But whatever, we'll get there.
We'll get
No,
there.
but
We'll get.
it's a good thing because
Tauriel will have a lot to say, so we'll get
I
there.
know.
Let's just move on to episode 3.
Hold on a second about episode 2 still. At the end, Slat Bitch is back, and I wrote down his note, oh yeah, Slat Bitch was in here.
Mhm.
So she didn't
You
do shit. She
know,
wasn't
yeah.
relevant to the plot at all. She was just like in the
Yeah,
first scene and the last scene for no reason.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's like-
wasn't
so
even
funny.
related to the episode at all. Like this could have been part of last episode or the next episode, and it
Yep.
wouldn't have changed
I
anything.
think they just didn't have enough to fill the runtime, so they just put those scenes in to stretch it out. And it's like, we're
Or-
building up for the next few episodes.
Or they needed it for the plot of the last season because they needed to, I don't know, show that they weren't that Slat Bitch and Bustle weren't as good as friends, and that Slat Bitch was obsessed with this crystal thing. I don't know.
So-
And
Oh,
the people
also,
who
there
wrote
was
it
a
know.
line there was a line that Sled Bitch said when Linda was fucking around with the dragon, and Sled Bitch said, "What am I paying you for?" And I'm like, "Where'd you get the money from? Because you no longer work for Icarus. You don't
No,
no
no, she
longer
does.
have a
She does.
salary."
No, this is mentioned. This is mentioned when
on vacation.
when Rake asks where Slat Bitch is, they say on vacation.
But
Like,
she
hey, one of
doesn't
your
have money.
employees
That
went
was just
batshit
a
insane,
lie.
did a bunch of illegal shit, took off in a government vehicle, and we haven't seen her since. And no, she's on vacation. Why are you lying for her? Just tell him that she went crazy.
Yeah, like it's you
Yeah.
have no gain out of covering for her. Just tell him. Though
I think it's wild.
I think what they're trying to get. I think that what they're trying to get through is that if they tell him and he'll actually try to find her, then it will lead them to the dragons,
Well,
and they don't want
that
to find
or
out.
how do you explain? Oh, we were here to study rocks and giant hole in ground. She went mad. She went crazy and just did a whole bunch of illegal shit. How did rocks make her do that? She did rocks.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question.
Which I will still harp on for forever
No.
for in the future.
No, actually, June should have just been like, "There was never a Sled Bitch. What are you on about?
She could
Never
Eugene
was."
could have pulled that off.
She's a good enough gaslighter. She could probably
Yeah.
make it happen.
Yeah, she could have
She
done
said
it.
she can hypnotize people. Just hypnotize him to forget about Sled Bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Problem
That would have been
solved.
hilarious.
Oh god.
Yeah, that.
I also
Who's this
have
person on
one
my
last
payroll?
note for the episode, because I have a note that's it. The episode is Twin Sanity and Jurassic Park in the blender, and then the next note, which is about the scene where the speed stinger got out and was running alongside the ATVs, and it reminded me of that scene from Jurassic World
Yeah.
with the raptors and the motorcycle. And I said, okay, I was kidding about the Jurassic World bit. Go back, please.
Yeah,
Who
you
the
realize the time you
hell-
said that. Who the fuck is Chris Pratt gonna play in How to Train Your Dragon?
Well, I'm
It's-
sitting here wondering why the hell they're letting a speed stinger run around, one of the most untrainable dragons and dangerous dragons,
I
and
mean,
they let it run around for not just this episode but also others after this.
that leads
So
us perfectly into episode 3. Speed stinkers
Yeah.
are trained now.
Yeah,
Pete
I
did
have
it.
to say,
He's better than
I
Hiccup.
I'm not gonna lie.
Pete, go Pete. Whoever Pete
I
is.
thought the speed stinger was cute. I don't care if it's impossible to train. It was cute. His name is Jerry.
No, like no,
I
that's fine.
personally love Pete and Jerry. I
don't-
just think it's
Yeah.
absolutely
I
stupid.
love
I
Pete.
love it too.
Yep.
No, listen, I love Pete for the reason that the episodes literally start with them opening his door. It's like, hey, Pete, we need a dragon back. And it's like, who is this Pete? Are we familiar with him?
he's
Is
just
this-
like kind of sprinkled in, but he doesn't mean it. He's kind of like a less important Linda.
Yeah. Important after Linda went away with Sled Bitch. And I'm like, seriously?
I
Why
think
did
the sheep
Linda go
chased him
away?
last season or something. I don't
He's
remember.
essentially the bucket and mulch of this show, and
Yeah,
without any of the
basically.
character.
There you go.
I suppose.
So, anyways, we're
Yeah.
officially moving on to episode 3 now. I
Yeah,
guess.
I have a
Yeah,
note
episodes,
that Pete and Jerry have the best rider dragon human dragon relationship out of all characters. How is that fucking possible?
That's actually pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Okay, so
So
let's see. This is the episode where we get, I think, a considerable amount of Tom and June material for people who enjoy
Before
that.
that,
Which
I think
I don't know
before
what's
that-
wrong with you, but you do you.
I mean, going back to
I
the
just want to
hey,
say,
the breakup
I just want
lasted
to
all of
say-
apparently one episode essentially.
but let's just farewell to Ford and Winston, for we will never see them again.
Oh yeah.
I like to believe
Yep.
that they just left him hanging in that net, even at the end
And
of
they
the
died.
even at the end of the show.
Oh.
They just
Forever.
I feel like they fall because you see the machine again at the end of the episode and the net isn't there, and I'm like, did they took them out? Did they fall?
they
What
died.
the hell happened?
They died. The crane let loose and they
But-
died.
My
Yeah.
first note for this episode is I looked away from the screen for a second to drink water, and then when I came back, I saw Tom touching June, and now I want to cut off my tongue.
Oh, that was
so-
so stupid. Yeah.
So yeah, we have the awkward Tom and June stuff, and of course the characters are also making them feel awkward.
and they
there's-
forced Alex to be in the middle of it.
Yeah,
Which
no,
I
the
loved.
line of like, "Oh, great, I'm the baloney in this." That kind of made me giggle, I guess, because
So
Alex?
I need to say something, and that's
Sure.
Yeah.
that we need to describe the plot a little bit better, which is they are trying to extract speed stinger venom from Jerry to make a tranquilizer for Jormungandr so they can get him back to safety, whatever. And so D'Angelo and Eugene spend the episode doing that while Tom, June, and Alex go to try and steal Buzzsaw's ballista in the ice realm to use it as a like a tranquilizer dart kind of thing to put the speed stinger venom on and to shoot Jormungandr with. So they go down to the ice realm, and before they do, Tom and June are like, they're planning on going together, but they don't want to go together because they're broken up and it's weird. So they drag Alex into it. And there's a whole like 2-minute scene of them trying to convince Alex to go down there with them. And it's like you said, you can be the bologna in our sandwich because we need more ingredients than two. And it's a whole thing. And I just wrote POV Tom and June trying to recruit Alex for a threesome.
Yeah, that's
Oh
basically what
my
it was.
god.
That's
Also,
I don't
No,
know too. This is basically what it
I
was.
have another note, which is for a bit later in the episode when Tom and Alex are alone, and Tom says, "So, Alex, you're a girl," and I just paused the episode that second and wrote down, "So, Alex, you're a girl. Wanna be my new girlfriend?"
Oh, I wish that'd be
No.
so.
I will
For
say
me-
though, that episode hit so many because I've been Alex in countless situations, way too many to count, not necessarily with couples, but just in general, and have one person so is this person mentioned me, and then the other person comes with, so is this person mentioned me, and it's like I being in the middle sucks, and like everything Alex says in this episode when she's in the
Especially Alex because she
yeah,
hates people
that's
so
Mm.
much.
and that's the thing. I feel that because I've been in that situation. I hate people who do
No,
that.
I
So
also
I felt
quick
related. I felt seen. I felt seen for once
quick
in this
quick
show.
nitpick, right? Quick nitpick. About the 2 slices of bread and bologna. So they say they need a third ingredient, but wouldn't 2 slices of bread be one ingredient?
Yes,
no.
I was
Yeah.
thinking the same thing,
No.
and I was like, June can't fucking think. She just said something about Norse mythology that's not Norse mythology in this episode.
Well, she can't even get Chinese mythology right, and she's Chinese, so you know.
But I,
Well,
She
Yeah,
said,
you know.
Alex
I
just
think,
looks as uncomfortable as I do the entire episode watching this happen.
speaking of that, I loved it.
I
I would have loved it, right? I would have given the show all of the praise if when June comes back and she's asked us, "So, what'd you and Tom talk about?" I was like, "Oh, please just say something completely like sarcastic, like just please just give me the line of, "Oh yeah, we're dating now. Me and Tom are. We're in love now." Just to
Oh yeah.
fuck with everything. I would have been like, "Oh yes, show gets it. We're good."
I
Show's 9 out of 10
expected,
now if that one line.
I
Stupid
I
shit. Just
wanted
And I
please.
want
Alex to say the truth, to say, "Oh yeah, he talked about you. He still
Or
cares about you. Get
something.
together and leave me out of this."
And then I want to point out again, I have it in my notes that the dragon basically died, and they have this relationship bullshit. Stop.
Oh
Wait,
yeah,
what?
I have a note here because D'Angelo took the dragon's pulse through its teeth or something, through its jaw.
Mm.
Like he had the stethoscope and he was touching the dragon's jaw, like the teeth. And I'm like, that's not how you listen to a pulse, D'Angelo. What kind of veterinary do you want to
He's a
become?
dragon doctor. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Through the
hope so.
teeth?
I trust him.
You cannot hear a pulse through the
Yeah,
teeth.
we trust
No,
him.
I trust them.
Also, I have the timestamp, but I'm not going that. But at 5 minutes and 41 seconds, Alex touched June's butt.
Oh my god.
why, why did you write down the timestamp though?
I am sure
So that I
somebody
can.
I'm sure
Hold
somebody
on,
ships it. I
June
am just
ships it. Don't you remember that whole ship conversation they had about their name, their power
Yeah.
couple
no
name?
I said it as a joke. I'm not saying that you should. I'm just saying I'm sure somebody does. go them, they got something.
I have something written down here where it's mentioned later, and I thought about bringing it up not bringing it up until the later episode, but Eugene does mention at one point in this episode that he has a fireproof dragon suit.
Yes.
Well, later on in the season, all of them are wearing their fireproof dragon suits, except for
And he
Eugene.
doesn't.
And there's a line
Yes.
about him saying, well, I didn't have time to put it on. They literally just did not want to model his suit.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
it. That is the
Mm.
only reason.
I have the exact same note here.
Yep.
Actually,
And
this
also,
is this.
D'Angelo said, can I, or
Yeah,
you?
go ahead.
D'Angelo said that he's wearing the suit to protect himself from the speed stinger's stinger because it's made out of dragon scales. And I'm like, no, it won't protect you because speed stingers can sting other dragons through their scales.
Yeah, and it happens
Good
in the
point.
show.
Fucking stupid.
It's a good point, actually. I didn't even think about that.
And one of the funniest things for me was at the end of this episode, I just had to stop and, after the whole battle with Jormungandr, which ends up not working out because Buzzsaw
Which is also
interferes.
lame.
It's very lame. They end up stealing the ballista. They get the venom on it, everything. It's perfect. They take the shot. They miss because Buzzsaw comes in, and then Jormungandr chases Buzzsaw and Jack away, and that's how the episode ends pretty much.
And
But
they
they go
have
back.
this like. Sorry, go ahead.
They go back to Icarus, and I'm just sitting here like, I love how 2 seasons ago we were keeping Buzzsaw a secret because they were afraid their parents weren't going to let them go down to the realms anymore because it was too dangerous. And now their parents are just cool with them stealing a medieval weapon that could kill any of them, like manipulating with this speed stinger and like putting themselves in all this danger, then going down to the hidden world and facing off against the world god serpent, who's the most dangerous creature to ever exist. And they just come back to the surface world after failing, and their parents are like, "Oh, you'll get them next time."
Yeah, that's the other thing though. That's the other thing. The ending is so somber for this episode. Like something terrible just happened, and yeah, I get it. They didn't stop Gorgie, but at the same time, you're just back to square one, and you can try again. Like they play it as if the
Not
entire
even that.
world
It's why are their parents cool with them doing this?
That
It's the most
too.
dangerous shit that they've done in the entire show so far, and they're just like, "Oh, well, you'll do better next time."
Yeah,
Why
no.
are the parents
think-
helping?
I
Oh,
think
no.
Don't
also
they
that.
have tranquilizer guns? Because I remember Sled Beach using one on Thunder. I was about to say Toothless. Goddamn.
Also true.
Sled Beach used the tranquilizer on Thunder. They can help.
No, but HC does have a good point. Why didn't they just take that ballista shot and just do the whole thing again? Like,
Nah, I can't. It's
what's
ruined
the
now. You
whole
only got one
shot
shot.
thing?
Only one shot.
Like because the ballista
Just
isn't
only
an
make
destroyed.
Do you know how hard it is to make a ballista nowadays, Ian?
It's not
Yeah.
destroyed. It's still
It's
intact.
destroyed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Buzzsaw,
and
it took
was
Buzzsaw a
also
whole one
intact.
episode
It's-
off screen
Ian,
to
it's-
make that ballista. It's
it's-
impossible.
It's like Valka's
Also,
staff. We've
the
lost it,
arrow
Ian.
was-
It's gone. It's just there's no more of it. We can never find it again.
I
The
don't-
arrow
also-
was just there. It was in the open. It was not
I love how
destroyed.
they even they even show the camera a shot of the arrow just sticking in the ground like oh, we're gonna pick that back up. Nah, it's gone. We
No,
can never
one
use
shot.
it
Yeah,
again.
gone.
It's-
That's
it's-
it.
That's it.
End.
Talking
Game over,
about
man.
It's
Game
all
over.
over. Yeah.
Was it
Talk-
so hard? Was it so hard to animate the Gorgie, whatever, destroyed the ballista so that at least they have an excuse? Was it that hard to animate a destroyed ballista?
I
Or
mean,
the
that's
answer
another
is
thing.
yes. The
Yeah,
answer is
the
yes.
answer is yes, is because again, this is supposed to be like the big bad, right? This is supposed to be the thing that can cause Ragnarok, as we're gonna find out. And it's so lame. Like it chases those things, and it's just for as someone who's terrified of snakes, it's just a giant fucking snake, and it's just
It's not even
going
that
the same.
big.
Yeah, it's just it just rolling around at his own thing. Like it doesn't look threatening. It doesn't do anything threatening. And then it's like, oh, he's onto you. Okay, we'll try a different strategy. But then it's the same strategy that they just
There-
did. But this one it works. But then
It's an advanced whispering death.
like, ugh, ugh.
It was
Oh,
a
the
scene.
screaming
There was a
death?
scene.
What?
That's
What?
literally the screaming. You said advanced whispering death. That's the screaming death.
Yeah, that's the screaming death. Even in the color choices.
There was a scene where they were looking at the snake through the binoculars and it was chasing around terrible terrors like butterflies and failing to catch them. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? I thought I was going to have PTSD from the snake from Raised by Wolves, which I really don't want to bring it up, but
Then
just
don't.
know that it does some disgusting things in that show and it looks very similar to Jormungandr, so my brain is associating the two.
He's not threatening. He's supposed to
No.
be
It's
like the
not
end of the
threatening.
world type shit.
It's not
Yeah.
threatening. Okay, you want to know what the other snake did? Audrey, you want to know? Do you really
Okay.
want to know?
I
Okay.
don't know
Well-
what it is we're referencing, but
In the show Raised by Wolves, I'll describe this in as fast as I can.
As quickly
Um,
because we still have stuff to
yeah.
wrap up.
A lady finds the seed of a tree. The seed goes in her body explodes and the tree grows, and the snake flies, eats the tree, grows some tentacles from its face and shoots fire.
why is that related to what we're talking about?
Because the snakes look alike. They look very similar. The
Oh,
snake
they
from
look
that show.
similar. Okay, I
Yes.
thought you were saying story-wise it was similar, and I was like,
No.
wait,
no,
what?
Okay, I
No.
get it.
Also,
And that's why I cannot look at Jormungandr without thinking of that snake and vomiting.
Ugh.
Didn't Buzzsaw's dragon Jack get eaten by the serpent like last season?
No.
No.
No. Okay,
No.
just me.
Okay.
Jack
No.
wasn't in the season finale last season. The Sky Torture was.
Yeah, and everyone
Oh,
assumed that
okay.
he
Never
died,
mind.
and I was like, guys, we didn't see a body. There's no way it's dead.
No,
And of course, we see it again.
they actually mentioned him in episode 1 of this season of it almost killed him, so it's still alive.
Well,
Not
he's
dead.
in the season finale.
That is true. Yes, he is also.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's
Yeah,
not dead.
So, anyway, moving on to episode 4 of Gods and Monsters.
The Buzzsaw Redemption episode.
Title.
Out of
Before
nowhere.
this,
Title.
before this, I just want to point out this episode. I actually texted Tauriel
Oh my god.
as after I finished it, just because I think it was around the same time I told her that Good Omens season 3 was announced. So I was just telling her that I finished episode 4 and I was heading to the rest of the show of the season. And I told her, "Can I spoil some stuff?" And she's like, "There are no spoilers in Nine Realms. Hit me." And I just told her,
Yeah.
"Slut bitch," and I just told her, "Slut bitch dies." And her reaction,
Yeah.
I am going to
Yeah.
read it. I'm going to read it directly. It was like, oh, fuck yes. Oh, fuck yes. I'm watching this
Oh, man.
episode first.
Also,
Justified response.
it's the only character or dragon, in fact, that ever dies in this show.
Yeah.
I
No
don't
other.
think she's dead.
Yeah, me neither.
Well, as
I think that was very
they did-
obvious.
they-
When I talked about sequel bait, I think that's so obviously sequel bait.
I
If
mean,
they have
they-
another,
they-
if they have another spinoff, you know she's coming back.
They
No.
did the classic DreamWorks falls into water bit. You mean?
No.
No, I
They
don't
did.
think it's going to happen. I don't think the show is going to get any
No,
fucking
no.
spinoff. But I mean, look at it this way: either they get a spinoff and she comes back and it's like a stupid twist villain thing, whatever. But if they don't, which I don't think they're going to, it's extra funny because then she actually is dead, and the way
Yeah.
she died was so
It's like-
funny that
it's
it's
like-
very
it's
fitting.
It's like every Disney villain that they have those Disney villains that just go into an abyss. That's it. That's what we have.
I wrote that was the lamest death cry in the history of death cries.
And actually, one thing I was
Oh.
thinking of is because Tom is holding her, and I'm like,
Yeah.
don't you have
Where's
super
his
strength?
super strength?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have thought, where's Tom's super strength when you need it? Because in the first episode of the show, he just pulled up Linda with a rope
He pulled
on
up,
his
yeah, he
own.
hauled
And
Linda up
Linda-
and moved
Linda
the whole
has-
ass boulder and everything.
Yeah, and Linda looks much heavier than Sled Bitch. Sled Bitch
Yeah.
is skinny as fuck.
Yeah.
No, but Tom was just really
It's all that
sweaty.
ego.
Okay.
It weighs you down.
Yeah, I guess because this is the one thing I was thinking of when I was watching, but I guess because the Master Emerald wasn't in place, it affected his super strength.
Oh my
Because-
Oh,
god.
that was so fucking stupid. Okay, so we need to describe this a little bit better because the entire plot of this episode, there's really like 20 million things going on, but Plowhorn
Yeah.
gets kidnapped by Sled Bitch somehow. And they, meanwhile, run into Buzzsaw, who tries to find them because Jack is sick from the World Serpent's breath, and D'Angelo goes down to help him, and this is Buzzsaw's redemption arc.
Quote
And-
unquote.
Quote unquote, he cares about his dragon now because he's in danger and starts, coming to the good side. And meanwhile, Sledbitch is trying to use Plowhorn for her tracking ability to find the quote unquote dragon sight realm, which we have never even fucking heard of before this episode.
Yeah, and apparently
Trying
there's
to the God realm.
and again, there's this fucking, I'm gonna call it the Master Emerald because that's what it fucking is, but there's only this
Felt like
thing.
a video game.
Yeah, it literally is. Yeah.
It is
It
pretty
felt
much
the
Master
whole
Emerald, yeah.
episode. Actually, from here on now, the rest of the episodes feel like a video game.
It is, and
Which
they're
you would
trying
think
to
I
find
like.
what do they call it? The dragon sight thing? The master is that
Oh,
do they actually
fuck,
call it
I
something?
think they
No,
do.
it's
I
just
don't
a
remember.
dragon.
I call it the Master Emerald because it reminds me of something from Sonic.
Okay,
That's
I
it.
couldn't figure out if that was your thing or if they actually said that.
It's
But
my
there's
thing.
this
I'm
I don't
just
think
joking.
they called it
there's
anything.
this cavern in the dark realm or whatever realm that was where it's like all this dragon sight and I guess it was in the dragon book and that's how Sled Bitch knows about it, so she's been trying to find it, so she uses Plowhorn to get there. And in the center there's like this peak where there's a dragon sight crystal in the center, and they just collectively decide that that is the crystal that powers the oxygen for all the hidden world, and if it's displaced, then there's not going to be any oxygen in the hidden world and all the dragons are going to die. And I'm like, how the fuck do you know that, and what does that
Exactly.
even mean? How is that
Exactly.
possible?
That was
Can we-
already proven to not be true because they said, I think in season 5 or something, or 6, that all dragon sight provides oxygen when dragons fire upon it.
Yeah, they
all
They're
kind of
trying to
retconned
imply that if
Dragon.
this thing is displaced, then dragon sight will just cease to react to fire being breathed on it and produce oxygen,
guess
which is
so.
not how anything in physics works
Yeah.
at
the
all.
realm's power plant, okay? It's just a power
It's
plant.
literally
I-
is, and I'm like, this is some magic bullshit. What do you
I
mean that
have-
this thing powers the entire hidden world?
Did you hear
I
these
have a
sound
note.
effects?
Oh, yeah. Say it.
Did
yeah.
you hear these sound effects that they used when they put that big whatever it is emerald? I don't really care back.
I call it the
was
Master
like
Emerald.
sci-fi
It's on
sound
me.
effects. It was like Transformers sound effects.
Literally, yes.
It was a video
It's
game
so
sound
funny.
effect.
And it's not even confirmed why Sled Bitch wants this or what it's gonna. I mean, she could just mine dragon sight and it's the same thing. What is the significance of this one Master Emerald?
It's
that
the
she's
most
after.
powerful. I mean, again, it's the key to the
note
power
here.
plant.
But what is
apparently.
she doing with it? She could just walk up to the surface world and be like, "Hey, I found this. I discovered this new crystal. Look at me, I'm famous
I
now."
mean,
What is
this
the
is-
significance
this
of
is
this one thing?
This is the same issue of she could just go tell the world, "Hey, there's living, breathing dragons," and she would be just as famous and rich. But
Yeah,
apparently,
yeah.
rocks are more
She's
important.
putting herself in a danger of death because that affects her oxygen too. She's gonna die by the time she gets to the surface.
Okay, that
That-
was so fucking stupid because
that as well,
what,
because-
what ends up happening is that they displace the Master Emerald. It falls off the peak that it's sitting on top of, and immediately all the oxygen in the entire cavern starts dissipating. And I get that the dragon was firing and everything, and that probably had something to do with it. But they're acting like oxygen just ceased to exist once this thing is displaced, and I'm like, that's not how air works.
And
But
not-
even-
it's not how anything works.
Even that,
I
though,
have-
if that's how it apparently works in this world, how the hell are they going to get out of there quick enough if oxygen is just gone that quickly?
yeah.
What?
Like I said, it's some magic dimensional bullshit where it just you displace
Especially
this one
Sled
thing and
Bitch
suddenly
herself,
no one can
apparently.
breathe.
Because apparently
just-
she doesn't
just
have a
suck the,
dragon to get in or out.
suck-
So how is she? Because it looks like it takes a long time to get down there, wherever there is. There's no sense
No.
of space here, anyways. It doesn't
I
matter.
tell
But
you
still,
what,
it's
it
just
feels
wild.
like it feels like they just went along with the first draft.
No, Wolf. You just got to suck the oxygen out of the emerald.
It's true. It's like it just
Yeah.
holds it all inside of it. Okay, I get it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but that's the thing.
there's a line where Sludbitch says there is no atmosphere in the hidden world without the gem. Someone fucking explain
How
how
does
that
this
works.
work? Like,
That's what I
I
mean.
have-
It's like whenever we talked about earlier that they're
But-
introducing all this lore about the hidden world, but they don't explain any of it, and they really can't because there's no logical explanation as to why this thing powers all the oxygen in the hidden world, and without it, all the dragons are going to die. That makes no sense. There is
But
no, even in a world with dragons, it makes no
yeah,
sense.
But it's
there's
a
there's
hole
nothing that like
in
it's
our
the first
world
time
with
we hear about
atmosphere.
this.
But it's a hole in our world with atmosphere. I missed that line. How does that? What?
Yeah. So like, is the hidden world atmosphere different than real world atmosphere?
I
Like,
get it, right? Like if you dig down far enough and go far enough up underneath even our own ground, like it's not exactly good to breathe air down that far, but it's still an atmosphere. What?
I
I
I
have
don't
a note
think that
here.
the people who wrote the show understand science very well.
Hold on.
no.
I have
They
a
don't
note
understand
here.
mythology, so why would they care about science?
That's
I've
a
been
good point.
trying to talk for 5 minutes, guys.
Go
Sorry,
for it.
Tauriel.
Go for it.
I
Go
have
for
a
it.
note here that I failed my physics exam, but even I could write better shit than this.
Yeah, because you know how the world works. It's
Like,
just so
what?
stupid.
It feels so. The whole concept and principle and everything feels like a video game.
Another good one. There are
Yeah.
actual there are actual good video game stories and actual good video game adaptations these days. This was almost like that Final Fantasy movie from all those long ago that people said it looks beautiful, but the story is not comprehensible at all. So here the story is shit and the animation is not even that good.
There
It's
is
not good at
one.
all.
There's a couple of things that happen in this episode that I really, really appreciate, though, and it's mainly around the fact that Sludbitch is just such a psychopath now for no reason. Like she had
She's
some
Gollum.
moral compass during the first
She's
part of the
Gollum.
show. Yeah, she's literally turned into Gollum.
He's literally Gollum, and
There's
that emerald crystal is the One Ring.
There's the point where, like, sorry, go ahead.
Because if you take it, you destroy the world. So you have to. It has to be in a place. It's the same principle.
Yeah.
God damn, how many franchises did they plagiarize in this one season? Because not only did they plagiarize their own franchise, but they plagiarized Jurassic Park twice because it's the second episode and then Camp Cretaceous, which is the finale. Now they plagiarized Lord of the Rings, and also I was thinking with the whole
And Sonic the
gem
Hedgehog, again, that's the Master Emerald
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, the whole falling and reaching for the emerald, that's the plot of an episode from The Land Before Time, a
Oh.
dinosaur cartoon from 20 years ago.
Yeah, we know what the Land Before Time is.
Okay. Because I remember there was an episode where they found a crystal that looked pretty, and one of the dinosaurs went to find more of that crystals, and then they found a pit, and that that dinosaur was dangling at the edge of the pit with the crystal in one hand, and she had to let it go to save herself. That's that's the plot. That's the thing. That's the thing. The only difference is that Sledge dies.
I think that, with the Land Before Time, it's even like, there are like 14 movies in a show. Nobody watched all of that. Nobody would care. So,
It's one of my favorite lines from this episode, though, is at the very beginning, Sledvich is talking to Linda, and they're in their secret underground lair, which we actually find out is the area beneath Buzzsaw's logging company, which I don't think it was mentioned before. They just spawned a location, and we didn't know where it was. But there's a line where she says, I rigged the elevator based on weight, so if they try to come down here, they're gonna crash. And Linda's like, that's terrible. And Sludbitch is like, this is what happens when children are allowed to roam free. And I wrote, why does she low-key kind of have a point, though?
Yeah.
Because there's no way that their parents should be letting them go out and do this shit. I mean, they kind of deserve to get into some shit because of it.
But at the same time, it's wild that she was just like, morals?
To be honest, and again, this is like it was in season 6, I think, that she thought she accidentally blew the kids up. Now she is actually like, I don't care, I'll kill
He
them.
did
But
purposefully
Well-
blow them up last season.
Mm.
so-
yeah, like I think it was like, okay, I felt bad that one time. I guess I was on my period. Now I'm okay with it.
And-
Granted, honestly, it might have just been because she still lived in the village and she was like, "Oh god damn it, I'm gonna have to explain it to all these freaking people."
It's probably
And now
true.
she's like,
Mm.
whatever.
I love how unbothered Olivia was when she found out not only that Sled Bitch died, but that her son watched and was like standing there seeing it happen and he was partially responsible. Her 15-year-old son, and she was just like, well, she let her ego get the best of her. Like she's so unbothered by the entire
Yeah.
Honestly, you make it sound like some kind of villain speech that she did. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, she got her, her ego. got
Literally,
Like-
it's what it
tested,
felt like.
I think Olivia was low-key happy because Sled Beach was her personal rival after all.
Yeah.
Her son did away
Olivia
with
was evil the whole time.
Oh
The
my
whole
God.
falling scene was so stupid to me too, because if you look at the physics of what's going on, like Sled Bitch is falling and Tom's holding on to her. And the reason that Sled Bitch ends up falling is because she reaches for the what are we calling it? The Master
Master
Emerald?
Emerald.
Yep,
Yeah.
Master
Yeah, she
Emerald.
reaches
Okay.
for it because it's on a ledge beside her. And that's what ends up making her fall because, her greed is getting the better of her. She doesn't even value her own life anymore. She falls. But then Tom just walks over and picks it up. And it's like, wait, so
Yeah.
it wasn't in an inconceivable place to go and get if she was on the top of the ledge? Why did she reach for it and fall?
Uh,
The same reason.
Thunder's
the
face
same-
when she falls is so fucking hilarious. He's just like, oh, okay.
Honestly,
It's
Audrey,
the same
you're not-
reason.
I just want
yeah,
just quickly,
go first.
Audrey, whenever you make your season 8 review and you have just the point where you put the season poster and you zoom in on Thunder's face, just have that face on the review instead.
Oh, I need to keep that in mind.
I cannot wait to bash in on that poster, but after we finish with episode 6, I guess.
Oh yeah, the
Um,
poster was
Happy.
really dumb this season. It's like the
You
worst
can
one
see
so
it now,
far.
actually.
It
You
was
see
dumb
it now.
for
Yeah,
all
it'll be
seasons.
on the screen, right?
Yeah, it was
Yes.
dumb for all seasons, especially season 5, I think, because it was just that scene, that end scene where they revealed the dragons, copy pasted into the poster.
Mhm.
Wait, I just want to
That
be
was the
clear.
dumbest one.
This
But
is
you
official
have
HC?
Tom twice. You have
Yeah, this is
Tom.
the official. This is official from Hulu. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
two
supposed to.
Toms.
Oh wow.
I don't know. I
Wait.
don't know. I had
Wait,
a
I
theory
don't
that
know
he
it.
had
I'm
an
sorry
evil
to
twin that
interrupt.
was gonna come in and some shit.
Sorry to
but no.
interrupt with the
Yeah, why
side
do you have
tangent, but
Tom twice?
Wha-
That doesn't make sense.
that's official.
But-
Okay.
Coming
Don't
back
mind
to
me.
Sled Bitch, the reason she reached for the emerald, whatever, when she was dangling above the pit, is the same reason Gollum reached for the ring at the edge of a volcano and fell in.
Yeah,
She
we get
is
it.
Gollum!
We get it. She's Gollum. We
Also,
know.
I have one last point about her because at some point when she was going for the emerald, she said they will name universities after me, and I said I don't know about universities, but they will sure name some prisons after you.
Oh yeah. Like
Okay, I'm gonna 180 real quick, and I think the fact that we haven't talked about Buzzsaw yet, also tells us that it was a really shitty dagger arc. It's
It
just-
was, yeah, that's a pretty good way to describe it. I have a note that
Yeah.
says this 180 with Buzzsaw feels so unearned because he has
Mm.
not cared
Yeah.
about any dragon at all in the show up until this point. And I
Yeah,
get
like-
it; it's his dragon, and it means something to him now. But I seriously doubt, with all the shit that he's done, that would be the only thing and the one thing to make him switch sides. It didn't make sense to me.
yeah.
Why was it necessary for him to have a redemption arc at all?
Because they can only kill one villain, duh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
can't kill
And it's
two.
also and it's also
It needs
so
to
You
stay
don't have
PG,
to
okay?
kill him. He can go to prison with Ford and Winston.
Mm.
and
We
okay.
don't know what happened to them either.
The fact
I
We don't know
that
what happened.
the fact that none of the villains in this show get the treatment of a 21st century like bad guy, whatever. I mean, one falls to that and one is redeemed. What's wrong with prison? What's wrong with the police? What's wrong with guns?
It's like the
Sorry.
Wild West
Well, I
out
mean,
there. I think we've established that there's
Icarus
no
doesn't
law.
have that.
Like,
So,
why don't
guys,
they get modern day punishments?
Just blame it on the comet.
yeah, but
Okay.
guys,
Everything on the planet.
we have a two-part finale, so let's just move on.
Yeah, episode 5
Oh,
and
man.
episode 6. Ragnarok.
Really quickly just want to say this because it's not really connected to the main plot, but there's this point where June tells Tom, like, oh, you know, Thor was the god of thunder, and Tom tells her, I
Yeah.
just named him that because that's what. And it's like, you are not trying to imply that Tom is fucking Thor, right? You are not going. I hope you are not going in that direction. And then they really, this scene is just filler. It doesn't even do anything. It's just filler dialogue that
Yep.
they could have cut.
HC, I'm gonna
Yeah.
disappoint you so bad, but Tom has Thor's hammer. I forgot the name.
Yeah,
Mjolnir.
does he?
He has Mjolnir on his jacket.
Well,
Wait,
it's his
what?
jacket. He doesn't hold it, so I kind of count it as bad.
And also about that part in Norse mythology, Jormungandr kills Thor. So I was like,
If
that would
only.
be.
Oh no.
It
If
would be
only we were
really
so lucky.
nice.
If only
It
was
would
so,
be
but
really nice.
and also this is wrong because we all know that Tom is not Thor. He's Loki. Boom. I don't care if I use that joke.
No, please, no. Don't massacre my
It-
boy. Don't
it was-
massacre my boy.
It was just a joke. Moving on. So
Don't do it, please.
I,
Don't
I'm
joke
done.
about that.
It was just a joke. There you go. We are moving on. So
Okay.
what the fuck are we even starting
Oh,
with? Because
speaking of Loki, if you said at
Oh,
some
man.
point June mentioned Loki as well, that Jormungandr is the son of Loki, and that's why he keeps tricking them. And I have stop mentioning Hiccup and stop mentioning Loki for fuck's sake already.
Again-
Please just stop.
again, I think
That's
it's in
my
the
note.
next one. I think it's in the next part where
No,
they.
it's this one.
No. I
'Cause
mean,
I
like,
have-
I'm not talking about this. I'm talking about the other thing because we
We'll
usually
get to
treat.
it, HC.
Well, okay, because we're usually treating two-parters as a one episode, but I guess we will get there. You know
Man.
what? Let's
Okay.
start with
So much.
let's start with the small potatoes. Alex and Eugene kind of canon now.
Small potato for you?
You know
Because
what? I just need to expel my feelings on that whole thing in this episode in general, which the general plot of this final two-parter is the first part is really just them deciding, okay, we need to stop Jormungandr. I mean, the entire thing starts out with them at a meeting at Project Icarus, and May, June's mom, says, it's too dangerous now that Jormungandr is on the loose, so if we can't control him, we're going to shut down the entire project. So that's the stakes for this two-parter.
yeah,
So then the entire first part is them trying to figure out how to do that. They build a cage for it. They get the materials. Tom and June go out and try to find all the materials for Gronkle Iron. That's what they spend the episode doing. And the B plot is only focused on Eugene and Alex and the fact that they're upset that they're going to leave each other because they've become such good friends. And the thing is, I
And
feel so conflicted on the way they handled this. And guys, I know, I'm just going to say it right now. I don't think there's anything romantic between them. I think it was solely supposed to be platonic.
Agreed.
I really do. I mean, I think it's suggestive because they're male and female, but it felt like if they were the same gender, it would be obviously a very friendly relationship. So that's kind of how I look at it. But aside from that, the reason that I feel conflicted about what they did with them in this episode is because this is not really something you should spend half of your final two-parter of the entire show focusing on, because it's such a not really important issue, the fact that they're going to miss each other. I get that they're friends and I love their relationship and their chemistry together, but I didn't like that that was the big thing that we're ending the show on, because there are so many million other things that they needed to wrap up that they didn't, and they focused on this. However, I also, while I hate that they did that, I also love it because Eugene and Alex are the only good things in this entire show. And even though that it structurally didn't make sense in the story for them to do this, I'm glad they did because, like I said, I enjoy watching them. They're fun to watch. They have great chemistry. And that is the only time in this entire show that I feel any sort of joy is when they're together. So I enjoyed what they did with Eugene and Alex here.
I'm gonna
I'm saying small potatoes
destroy your
because the
point.
show. I
Sorry.
just said that it's small potatoes because the way they handle it kind of felt like small potatoes, but I don't mind that. If anything, I think it was actually one of the only sincere and actually fun moments in the show where they actually have this really honest talk with each other.
Agreed.
And they just
Was
work
there
really
any
well
build?
together. They have great chemistry.
I'm gonna ruin the moment because I have a note here. Scratch Tom and Gina's parents. Imagine Alex and Eugenia's parents.
Jesus.
And
I don't see the
also,
problem.
there's that scene where Eugene takes Alex's tablet and looks at pictures of them, and I wrote, "Imagine if Alex had Tom and Alex fan art on her tablet."
Oh god.
Eugene, I'm so sad. Oh no, tell me why. And it's just Tom and Alex photoshopped.
But the other thing, though, I was saving that joke for this. That obviously you can read into this that it's just platonic or romantic, whatever you feel like. But one of the things that we mentioned that Eugene says that he has an armor, but then he decided not to put it on yet. I think Alex was supposed to have to design his armor. That's why she had pictures of him on the on the tablet. But she got so distracted by looking at him that she just didn't do it.
Oh my god. How did you come to that conclusion?
It was my
My God.
insane head putting the pieces together because they are not gonna do it, so I can say whatever I want.
No,
All
it's
right, fair
just
enough.
I mean,
platonic. God damn it.
one
Okay, I need to
season
just
ago,
ask, and Tauriel, I
yeah,
promise I'll let you finish, but I have to just ask this one question. Who here thinks that it's romantic?
me.
No.
Sorry,
Half and
but
half and half.
after seeing, I think it was last season. My memory is so muddled with this show, but after seeing Alex touch Eugene's bare chest, I was like, nope, yeah, sorry, no, I
It's
cannot.
I don't
read this.
romantic. I think it was just like I really, really feel that they're platonic, and maybe they feel romantic because the screenwriting isn't that great. But I think
Maybe
intended they were supposed to be platonic. That's just
maybe
me.
it's because I want to have a relationship in this show that's not Tom and June.
Can
So
see
I'm
that. I
clinging
completely
to
see
it.
that.
I'm just clinging to that because I even said that, you know what, I'll take this over Tom and June any day.
And I'm not even trying
okay.
to say that they would make a bad couple. I mean, they have great chemistry, like I keep saying. So I think of all the characters, they'd probably make the best. But I don't think that's what they were going for.
I
No,
don't care
but
what they were going for. I just want something that's not Tom and June, please.
but considering I think they did want to go for platonic, Alex is kind of creepy there, isn't she? She like says, "Oh yeah, I've got access to photo editing software," and it's like, wait, you edited pictures of you and Eugene because you're such good friends? That's a little
I think
creepy.
that's just
I'm not
Alex
gonna
being
lie.
Alex.
Yeah, but no, like sometimes good friends you save pictures with them. That's something
Well,
that
yeah,
people
but you
do.
don't edit them into pictures of yourself.
Okay.
I think the line that really seals it for me that it was supposed to be platonic is when they do end up hugging and deciding that they're going to stay friends forever and they still really care about each other. And they turn around and all the other kids are standing there. Eugene is just like, what? Best friends can hug.
I think it
Yeah.
was just trying. He was just doing the Eugene thing of like, oh no, we're not together. What are you talking about?
Nah.
But
Serious. I
still
thought
think
he
it's
was.
platonic.
I mean, that again, it's just me. I think it was platonic.
You
Yeah,
can
same.
see it either way. Also, but let's say if it's supposed to be romantic, then I am going to be angry that they didn't get to kiss, but but it will get them.
Yeah, we will.
So the thing is about this episode. For one, I had no idea that the place where Thunder's family and Toothless' descendants are was supposed to be a whole realm of its own. I had no freaking clue this was the intention, but apparently it's a realm on its own
Yeah, it's
called
supposed to
the
be the
Really?
King's
king's
Realm.
realm. Yeah.
Really?
And
Yes.
yeah, but
I
they
didn't
say
even notice that.
They just
They
said,
mentioned it
"Oh,
so
we need to
quick.
go
If
to
you
the
did miss it, it's not surprising.
like they just said, "Oh, we need to go to the King's Realm," and I'm like, "Wait, was this supposed to
Wow.
be a whole realm? All right."
Wow.
Barring June's conversation with Tom last season where they are like, "Oh, the 9 realms are a real thing." Is there ever a point in the show where they like actually sit there and list off the realms for the sake of the
No.
audience knowing
Nope.
what the hell is going on?
No,
Just
you need to do
figure it
that.
out.
Depending on how you count, people did the math, but depending on how you count, there are between 8 and 13 realms.
What?
Wait, what?
What? Who?
So,
Depending on how you count,
Realm,
there are between 8 and
Giants realm,
13 realms.
What the? Okay.
Desert realm.
Interesting.
Are you really that surprised that they aren't keeping track of
Well, no, I'm
Uh,
just surprised that they're off by so much. Potentially.
Really?
I
at this point,
off the
so
top of my
the
head, I can
entire
only think of 6.
so, but the plot of this episode is that they're trying to set up
7.
a trap using Grunkle Iron for Gorgi. But then apparently at the end, Gorgi apparently figured their plan out, so he tricked them and went into another place.
They
Yeah,
Figoed
because-
them. He Figoed them.
What?
Because Jormungandr goes to the King Realm where Thunder's family is, attacks them, and of course Thunder goes there with all the kids, and they see that it happened, and they have to go try to figure out a solution to stop Jormungandr, which then, puts them in that area so Jormungandr can go and ransack other places in the hidden world, and that's the big conflict. So yeah, he literally jukes them like Vico.
Oh man, so good. So good.
I fucking died when June got attacked by the vine tail, by the way. I know that's a
Yeah,
small
that was
moment,
good.
but it was so
What?
cathartic watching her get her ass beat.
Listen,
Why
she
did that
had
fine
this.
tail
She
battle
can do
get
it.
such epic music, by the way? I don't
Oh
know
my
why.
God.
I have
Uh,
a random note. It doesn't have to do with anything, but I guess I should give this show praise where it can because it doesn't have much, but the scars on the Sky Torture were pretty cool.
They were
What?
cool until they copy and pasted them onto the Elder Nightlight in the
yeah,
next episode.
yeah.
I in all fairness, I wrote that note for this episode before watching the next episode. So
So just moving on to part 2, might as well. There's not much to say about part 1.
Yeah,
Not really.
it
There was
felt
2
pretty
plots.
except Grunkle
fillery.
Iron, which
Again,
I
a
mean-
lot of stuff they could have chose to wrap up or at least attempt to, but they focused more on Eugene and Alex, which again I like and I also hate. So take that for what it's worth.
Oh,
Yeah,
wait,
it's
no.
one of those
We
things of like.
forgot.
Oh, go ahead.
We forgot that Yorgi, whatever, he Figos them to go to the Master Emerald.
Yeah.
Not to ransack the entire other place. It's just to go to the Master
Yeah,
Emerald.
he's going there to destroy the
Yeah.
9 realms because Jormungandr. That's a whole thing. Dragons
Yeah,
apparently
Oh, yeah.
know that and just follow that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I literally forgot that because it means
Yeah.
so little.
Because
Yeah.
the thing
he
that's
just
supposed
leaves.
to be the predator of dragons wants to kill all dragons, so it basically
it
starves
know?
to death. I mean,
Like
all that too, but ugh.
wouldn't taking the emerald away kill it too?
Yes,
yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, but it's like task filled successfully.
I guess.
Yeah. But then the other thing that I just thought about, if let's say Gorgi gets the Master Emerald and the entire hidden world dies, does this affect the human world?
No.
Oh.
Maybe. Who knows? It could.
Yeah, like
I love how the stakes are literally we have to save not just the hidden world but the entire world.
yeah,
These
like
dumbasses.
Listen, we don't know how
Okay.
atmosphere works anymore. Who knows?
Clearly we don't. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
we don't. Oh my god! So
It's the
part
comet,
2.
man.
Oh boy!
The
Oh
series finale, guys. Everything
it
wraps
starts
up.
with
boy!
the
I can't
dumbest.
wait to
scene
hear
in
some thoughts on
existence.
this.
And
Okay,
how
it's
fitting
very
that
bad,
and how
but
fitting
the
that
first-
the first I just want to say how fitting that the last episode of the entire show starts with what? With them gaslighting us about Tom not being Hiccup.
Okay.
No,
HC,
no,
I
that's
need,
not.
I need,
Oh,
I need
yes.
to say
Hold
one
on,
thing.
hold on.
Yeah.
Not yet.
I just need to say, HC, you need to tell me when I can go, okay? And when it happens.
Hold on.
You know what? Go, Audrie.
No,
by all
wait,
means.
wait. Hold on. That's
Tauriel.
not the first scene. That's not the first
Who
scene,
cares?
guys.
We're not doing this
No, you
by
know what
order
the first
anyway.
scene is? Hold on. You know what the first scene is?
What is the first scene for the record?
Thunder headbutts Yorgi and kicks off one of its teeth.
Oh yeah,
That was
the-
so dumb.
yeah.
that was something. Anyway,
I was like,
Audrie.
what the fuck happened when I
Oh,
watched
no.
that? What was that?
No, the literal first scene of it is everyone being serious and Alex making another snarky comment.
Yep. Did she say it's
that was the
AI,
first
it's
thing of this
artificial
episode.
intelligence or something?
yeah, that was a thing.
I had to Google that because I had no idea what art.
Okay, for
Oh,
the record,
man.
I've been I don't care. I've been waiting for more than 24 hours. Audrie, go.
Okay, so following the opening scene of this entire episode where they fight Jormungandr, they get him away from the Master Emeralds, apparently, but he's still out there and they still have to stop him. And they can't figure out how because their trap failed, allegedly. So Tom goes back to the lair, Hiccup's lair in the hidden world where his family mural is on the wall. He's sitting there and was he reading from the Book of Dragons?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
So he was reading the book and June walks in. And then they start having a conversation about the same bullshit we've heard since season 5. I'm not Hiccup. I keep trying, but I keep failing.
Again, gaslighting.
Yes, we will get there. Trust me. Okay. Then the Astrid thing happens.
Mm-hmm.
Where June, out of fucking nowhere, says, yes, you come from Vikings, but your bloodline just doesn't run through Hiccup. It also runs through her. And then we pan to Astrid's drawing on the wall. And I just have to say, I was sitting there watching it, I could not figure out where that was going. I was sitting there, like, normally I can sniff out the bullshit in this show from afar, but this was so unbelievably stupid and out of left field that even I couldn't figure it out. And then she hits us with, like, what is it, Ian?
Wait, I immediately figured out where they were going.
Same, but
I'm surprised. I'm surprised you didn't figure out before they said it.
It was so stupid and pointless that I didn't think they were going to do it.
Because
and
I
let me
thought June was about to say, "Oh, because you're both blonde."
And let me that's a good point. But let me go on because
Love this show.
she hits us with Tom. You were never meant to be Hiccup because you're Astrid. This one moment in the series finale is framed as the big revelation that they've been building to for 8 seasons. And I'm sorry, I just have to fucking ask, was Astrid's name mentioned once in the show before this scene at any point?
No.
They literally don't even talk about her character until right now. They never bring her up until this second. This is offensive on a couple of fucking levels because they only did it because people would be mad if they spent the entire show talking about Hiccup and never mentioned Astrid at all. So that's one of the reasons they did it. They write in this one completely unearned line of dialogue about her. I mean, they don't even give her character any context whatsoever or explain how Tom is like her at all. And even the stuff June described isn't like Astrid at all. They're not similar.
It doesn't even sound like they even acknowledge that Hiccup and Astrid were married.
Yes. And it's like they're trying to convince us that she's the one that Tom's been replicating this entire time. And to HC's point, it is the most impressive gaslighting I have ever seen from a television show. And second, with this whole Astrid thing being offensive, I feel like it was kind of also their way to shoehorn some like faux feminist message along with it. Like, yeah, go Astrid. She's the strong female character that our main character is replicating now that, whatever. And she's the one we should all be looking up to. But they don't do anything with it. I can't even call this scene shallow because it's not even in the fucking pool at all.
And not even that. And even if you look at it as if Tom is supposed to channel Astrid, he still does a fucking terrible job.
That is yes, that's a very good point. And also, I'm just trying to think of whenever this show started and John Teligan was like, yeah, there's a connection to the franchise, but it's its own thing. I would like one person who has not seen the original franchise but likes the Nine Realms and only consumes the Nine Realms, which is apparently the target audience, to watch this scene and be able to tell me that they understand what's going on, because how the fuck would they even know who Astrid is? Why would they care? We don't know anything about her.
There you go. And the other thing that annoys me is that if we are so trying to do the "oh, I'm not Hiccup" thing, how does being Astrid changes it? It doesn't evolve Tom as a character. He's still in the
It is
shadow of
the
someone else.
Yes, it is copy pasted the exact same Hiccup theme plot that we've been doing for seasons now. And this is something I talked to you about the other night. I really thought this is my biggest problem with this entire fucking show at this point. I thought that we were going to get to this series finale and the big revelation was going to be, okay, you're not Hiccup because you're Tom. You're your own person. It shouldn't matter who you came from. And not only would that be a great moral lesson, but that would actually make sense. Like make the whole thing about his ancestry with Hiccup, and so far it hasn't meant anything. That would make sense if that was the case and that was the moral thing they were trying to go for, because it shouldn't matter who he came from. It shouldn't matter that he came from this really prolific dragon trainer, because
There you go.
he's his own person. He makes his own decisions, and that's something we should all take away. It shouldn't matter where you came from. It matters the decisions you choose to make. And I really thought that that's the why I
We
thought
wouldn't
this,
be-
but that's the way that they were
Yeah.
gonna go. And I realized, oh, that actually makes some kind of sense. So of course they're not gonna do it. It's not even that deep. It's just such a generic through plot. But it was something, and I thought they were gonna do it, but
And
they
that's the other thing
Oh, no.
that
I
later
love how they
on,
stun locked
the
you by
actual
not doing the one thing they should have done.
it literally would have fixed so many problems.
And then there's this
Oh,
other
man.
thing where they go, "You were never supposed to be Hiccup because you're Astrid." And then guess what happens in the climax? He's riding the new Alpha Dragon. Astrid didn't do that. Hiccup did.
This
What the
was-
Oh,
fuck?
man.
This was, and I know I've said this a million times, but I have never meant it more than I'm about to say it right now. I felt the screenwriters' time crunch when they wrote this episode. I physically felt it.
Yeah.
It
same.
felt like they had someone standing over their shoulder, like, dude, we got to turn this in 6 minutes, write some shit down, and we got to go. And they
No,
just did it.
listen. This was realizing that you procrastinated on your college project, so you're writing it 2 hours before the deadline.
Not even that. 2 hours is plenty of fucking time to come up with the shit that I just came up with. I'm
Then
talking
say-
about minutes. I
okay,
mean, they
yeah,
didn't
okay,
know what
okay.
the fuck they were
Fair
doing.
enough. Fair enough. But you
Oh,
get my point.
Sorry. In a couple minutes, I wouldn't be thinking, okay, so he's not really, he's not like Hiccup. How about he's Astrid? I wouldn't come up with that in minutes.
Exactly. I don't know how they did it, or how anyone thought that this would be a good idea. And I've been saying that since the beginning of the show, but this time this is the thing they've been building to for 8 seasons, guys. This is the thing that
Yeah.
started the whole show. He's not Hiccup, he's Astrid. Why?
And again,
Oh,
it
man.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if he's Astrid or not, because one, he's still lame, and doesn't live up to the namesake, and two, it doesn't really develop him in any fucking way. He's still in someone's shadow, and third of all, it's stupid.
Look, Audrey, just edit your first trailer reaction to say, if it turns out he's related to Astrid. Just edit that, please. Thank
Yeah,
you.
just Astrid.
Like
Yeah.
ADR it.
So
Yeah.
that is my opinion on this entire big epiphany that Tom has, where he's not Hiccup, he's Astrid. There's so much wrong with it on so many levels that I'm kind of impressed that they managed to pull it off.
Can we go to some other bullshit that they did?
I
With
just,
the whole
I
alpha
was
thing?
just about to say real quick. I love how Buzzsaw shows up for like 2 minutes, does something
Oh, okay.
heroic, and then at the end they go, "Well, people like Buzzsaw can change." Did he? Did he fucking change?
He had that
Did
one
he-
redemption arc.
Also that.
But the fuck you, show. Fuck you.
Also, what happened to Bosco? Is he still in the hidden world?
Right?
We don't know.
What?
Actually, you know what? When
I
they
don't
leave him,
know what
he
happened
might
to
still
him.
be there. He might be the
Yeah.
only human there.
He's
Oh
just
my
Did
he's
anyone
God.
the
else
new
feel?
dragon. He's just hanging out, man.
Did anyone else feel that the
Yeah.
final battle was over in like 3 minutes?
Oh, it
maybe?
was over in 3 minutes, and then they
Oh.
say, "Oh, it was so hard, dragging Gorgie back to his cage." Did
Well,
you?
Tauriel, I know that wasn't it you who sent me those storyboards of the final?
No, I
Yeah,
was.
it was Tauriel because she sent them to me too.
Hold
Yeah.
on. I have not been listening to a word that has been said for the past 5 minutes. Sorry, Audrey.
It's okay.
We were talking
I
about the
was looking.
storyboards of the
Yeah.
final battle.
The second you started talking about the Astrid thing, I zoned out. I cannot take it. Not now.
You gotta
I,
take
I
it.
listen.
That's a justifiable
I'll listen
reason.
to your point. I'll listen to your point in a couple of days when the podcast is on YouTube. But I cannot take it now. But I was the one who sent you the storyboards, and I have a note because the thing that's in the storyboard is not even in the episode.
I was the final battle in the storyboards that we saw was like, I mean, Phil was running around with a gun shooting at it, and like
Yeah,
people
like
were diving.
we
through
joked
the-
earlier
What?
about
Excuse me?
we
What?
joked earlier about that being Call of Duty like, and it's like holy shit. But
Okay,
And I
then
thought
hold
they were
on.
gonna do that,
Guys,
but the
slow
no.
down. Slow down a second. I think me and Wolf have never seen these storyboards.
no.
Hold on,
A
I'm
gun?
gonna link it.
I think it was a tranquilizer gun, but he was like running around town shooting at Jormungandr.
Yeah. Olivia was driving the van, and Phil was
Yeah, there was like a
shooting it,
crash and everything, and like Phil's
Yeah.
wife was like in the car crash. It was fucking
Did-
crazy.
Yeah, and Phil had to
It's
carry
fucking
her
Mr. Ray
around.
Why
flying
didn't we
in
get
a
that?
helicopter or something.
I don't know, and none of it happened. Jormungandr just went to Raketown, like tore some shit up for a minute. They defeated him, and that was it.
Yeah.
It felt like 3 seconds, to be honest.
Were the adults even there?
I have.
If they
showed
were
them,
there,
yeah.
then
They were
they were
running
background.
around.
One thing I remember
were
about that
definitely
scene is
there at
just
the
Pete
end.
going, "Well, that's not good," and that's it.
Yeah.
So I
they-
do also love that the whole thing about Icarus being closed is like, oh man, there's this big bad dragon that will probably kill us if we don't close it. That bad dragon is now defeated, and now Icarus is destroyed
on.
anyway. So like,
I have,
we might as well just close it.
I have a few notes about the battle with the snake.
Yeah.
First of all, Alpha Elder looks like a glow stick.
He does.
I
Oh, he does.
Actually,
I
you know
wrote
what? Real.
Then hold on.
I just
Then
want to say real
Alpha-
quick credit. I actually got an answer to something. Being the Alpha Dragon does apparently pass through generations when the time is right. So you know what? I got
But
something else.
Thunder had it in season 6 already.
I'm not saying it's good, nor that they contradict themselves, but you know what? It's something. I'll give it
So-
credit where I can.
I have the following notes. Alpha Elder looks like a glow stick. Alpha Thunder looks like a video game skin.
It looks like a bad after effect. I wrote how it feels to chew 5 gum.
I'll tell you better. You say it looks like a video game. To Alpha Thunder looks like a PS2 game.
Oh man.
I didn't say a good game. I just said
No,
like a video game
still.
skin.
No,
Like,
like
when
I
he
agree
got
with
it-
you.
When he got it, the way he got it, it looks like he equipped a skin.
Hmm.
Like
Re-
it
remember
started.
how fairly-
I have a whole note where I
Transition.
say that it looks like, because the Elder Nightlight is glowing, and then he just touches Thunder's nose, and then it transfers over to Thunder, and I was like, so what is this, like Apple Pay with the Alpha?
Exactly.
What
I
do
just
you
checked my contact.
mean?
Like for the record, it's a dumb explanation, but it's like okay, I guess that's how it works. We know
Then-
that.
It's not.
Then I have
Surely
how
it's
do-
not.
how does one fuck a lore that's already been fucked up? How do you fuck something up that's already been fucked up? Because they fucked up the alpha lore in season 4, 6. 6?
All of them, every single instance.
We-
Well, 4.
Let's just say that,
4, first of all, because the Elder couldn't control the snow rate.
Yeah.
Then you had Thunder control the Nathers. and now you do this, so you fuck up the fuck up. What?
Oh
How?
yeah, we already did
I
an alpha
guess.
thing.
No Inception. This is fuckception.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Guys, I look, we're going on about how do you fuck this up and all the shit that they did with Astrid in this episode.
And we are
I
not
have
even
one
at
more
the
thing
ending.
about the
But-
battle. I swear, one more thing about the battle, because for a second I thought Jormungandr's head was chopped off by the windmill that fell. The way it was framed, but then I saw it breathing, and I was like, "What was the point of the windmill then? Why was the camera focused on it so cinematically?
I think it was to symbolize that Raketown is destroyed and they have to leave. I don't know.
Why did it fall 2 centimeters from its neck? Like,
Good question.
I really thought it chopped its head off, and I was like, "Holy shit, that's brutal! That's so cool!" And then it started breathing, and I was like, "Oh."
So anyway, afterwards they just kind of drag him back to his cage, and then the dragons come to the conclusion that they should separate.
Took you long enough.
Listen,
this-
if Audrey went before, I really need to go into this because
Go.
Go
this
for it.
really.
Please
oh,
do.
oh, okay. Well,
Here's the thing, and let's assume I'm gonna say it off the bat. I know that the ending to the third movie is controversial, but for the sake of the argument, let's just accept it for what it is. Here's the thing. The original trilogy, for all you are going to say about it, started with a boy and a dragon, two things which are supposed to be rivals, becoming best friends. They had the chance to kill each other, but they didn't. And it brought peace in Hiccup's personal village. Then, as the show went on and the two other movies, it became just they started going into the bigger world and tried to achieve peace between humans and dragons in their own world, which resulted in Hiccup becoming chief of Berk and Turtles becoming the Alpha Dragon. And the third movie ends with both of those leaders who were once friends realizing that for the benefit and safety of them both, maybe it's good for them to part ways. It's heart wrenching and everything, but and I know that some people don't like how it was done, but again, let's go with this for a second. There was a beginning, middle, end. There was change, there was development, there was a resolution. Here, a boy just fell down a fissure because he's an idiot, found this cow that they call a dragon. They kind of became friends, I guess. Then they just fucked off like some sort of a real life D&D group, I suppose. And now they just go back to each one to their own personal lives. Tom goes back to wherever, and Thunder and all the dragons are back to the hidden world to do whatever. The show does nothing with itself. The show has no point. We are in the exact same place where we were at the beginning. If they are ever going to do a continuation of some sort, nothing has developed, nothing changed, nothing actually happened. This was a giant waste of time for everyone involved. And if you think I'm gonna feel sorry for Tom and Thunder parting ways, even though you did it 3 fucking times in this show, including this, no, I'm not gonna. This is not years of friendship like Hiccup and Toothless were. These two know each other for less than a year. It was a summer fling. They flung. That's it. Fuck this ending. And you know what? The other thing I was about to say, if we are going to do this entire Tom is not Hiccup, you need to accept that, then why is his solution the exact same as Hiccup's? Huh? Let's take a show
it's
that
not his solution.
let's take a show that might be controversial in that fan base, but The Legend of Korra. They in one of the seasons they had a story about the first ever Avatar, who by the end of the story makes a certain decision which causes a status quo in the entire show's world, which carries over to the original show and to Korra. And by the end of that season, Korra decided, you know what? Maybe that avatar didn't had a good intention, but it didn't do the right thing. I'm gonna do something else, and that something else actually affects the rest of the show. which makes Korra stand out as her own avatar as opposed to the one before her. So to this I say, show, you fucked up. You have no point. You lost the point. Any kind of credit I tried to give you is out the window. Fuck you, show. I'm done.
And that's the end of
Well,
the podcast.
well, I mean,
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
the only thing I wanna correct you on is that it wasn't Tom's idea to have them go back, but
Give a
It
shit.
was
It's the
Thunder's.
same point.
yeah, it's fair.
I mean, are you guys really that surprised?
It's
I
not,
just-
I'm
No, it's
surprised.
pointless.
It's not that I'm
Um,
surprised, but I'm still but it's still talk about the bare fucking minimum.
I
It's
no,
have
not
the show
even
one
bare
thing
wasn't,
to
minimum.
uh,
It's
say.
literally nothing. They
Yeah,
did
it's
nothing.
I
the
have
show
one thing to say about this
Mm.
part of the ending. It's not a character arc; it's a character circle.
It's a character assassination. Ragnarok may be over, but they assassinated everyone.
Well, was there ever a
Tom
character?
was no one before the show, so they couldn't assassinate him. The only ones that
Yeah.
are assassinated are the OG characters. I'm talking about the main characters of this show. Because
Mm.
every single one of them, except for maybe Alex, is in the exact same position that they were at the beginning of the show. Alex is
Yeah.
more sociable, so you could say that she grew out of her
Argue
introvert.
D'Angelo, since he was able to in some way prove to his father that he can be a successful veterinarian and that's what he wants to do. I think there were good things with all the characters to some degree, except for maybe June probably. But with all the missed opportunities, and again, this goes back to all the things that they set up and then didn't do anything with. Tom's father not being around didn't have anything to do with this story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They forgot he has a father.
They forgot that he
Hmm.
didn't have a father.
Yeah, I know. They forgot that there's
No.
something with it, I guess.
Yeah.
They forgot that a person has two parents.
I love how we're all just skimming past the Tom and June kiss because no one wants to talk about
You know
Oh,
what?
no,
If I may, I know I
What
just
kiss?
vented. I know I just
kiss?
went
I
on the.
didn't see any
I,
kiss.
I know that I went on this big rant earlier, but I'll just say this. I just want to say that, as some considering my fiance lives really far away from me, we are long distance. So every time I see a kiss scene in anything, sometimes I think about her. I miss her. How come this show, which literally has a couple that's a white boy and a Chinese girl? I know my fiancés have Chinese, but still, literally asked in any way you can look at it. And when this happened, I feel nothing but disgust. I feel anger. I feel everything
Yeah, no,
that I shouldn't feel.
the whole point of the show was just June and Tom getting together. Can't you see that? That was the whole point of the show. That's the only thing that's changed. They're
Fuck
together.
this. Fuck them
And I
then.
love how they even had to include the final dig, knife to your gut at the end, where it's like, oh yeah, Tom and June are gonna stay together because their moms are getting stationed together again. They just had to put that shit
I
in there.
literally had a note. Of course they fucking did. Of course.
Which, by the way, why weren't they in the same helicopter at the end? Tom and
Because
June and Eugene and her mother, I guess, weren't in the
Because
same
hold
helicopter.
on. Because May is smart enough to not be in the same helicopter as Olivia.
Yeah,
Good point.
Yeah,
that's a
Good
good
point, I guess.
Good point.
Yeah.
But I'm prepared. I'll take it, but I didn't see the kiss. I just skipped 2 minutes.
good.
Yeah, you
I
didn't miss
didn't see it.
anything.
I didn't see it. I refused to see it. I knew it was coming because somebody spoiled it on the wiki. And when they started having the conversation of, can we get back together, pretty please? I just skipped 2 minutes ahead when they were leaving. So I have not seen it.
It wasn't even a good kiss, by the way.
Yeah.
It was like he looked so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
How would you rate that kiss? Out of
I
10?
will wait for Audrey's review. I will refuse to see it before then. There are some things that I have to protect my eyes from.
I was just like, damn, right in front of my salad. Come on, why?
So,
Oh.
Audrey,
you
I'm
should rate.
y-
You
And
should rate.
not to make fun of you, but I'm sorry. at least you didn't have to see it in full 4K HD because you have the blind spot. So,
Well, I guess
You should
that's
you,
So
you should rate
sorry.
I
Hiccup and
can't even
Asterisk
be mad
with
at
a
that. You're right.
well. The other
So-
Sorry.
thing,
No,
I
it's okay. I
wanted
can
to say
appreciate a
it.
good blind joke.
so
I
two
have
things.
fully functional eyes. You know,
I feel
I
sorry
cannot
for you.
I
uh,
cannot subject myself to that.
so listen,
Well-
Alex basically created Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she created the
just-
metaverse.
True.
There you go.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I guess texting isn't a thing in this universe.
I guess
God
no.
damn it.
Mother
But
Day,
it was.
actually, yeah,
It
it was.
is.
They
It
I
both
know
was.
it is, but why are they treating it like it's this profound technology? Like it's fuck.
I don't know, mate.
But I will
Did,
say, them calling it the 10th realm made me go, bleh.
We need to
Did
rename
Alex
this server
also,
the 10th realm right now.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Yes.
not the.
my God.
Yes,
Did
please.
Alex also buy them all VR headsets so they can join this 10th realm? That'd be great.
I feel like I still have so much I want to say, but I just it
Well-
doesn't mean anything. So
We'll have
Yeah,
a retrospective. We'll have one.
Two things.
Well, and I guess the other thing is that Tom wants to fly a helicopter and they almost crash. And
you
I
do
wish they could.
okay. I don't care
No,
about
canonically
they
they crash.
almost crash. They crash. That
Yeah,
is the end of the
that's
show
my
for me.
happy
Yeah.
ending. They crash.
Yeah.
As soon as
no.
they got in the helicopter, I was like, "Oh my god, Olivia's flying again! Please crash!" Please.
No,
And they
better
hit
yet,
crash.
let's do like in the epilogue of the inner. You see Tom with a beard flying a helicopter back, but then he runs out of gas. He goes down, crashes, and then Thunder goes out to check, and it's like, it was probably nothing. Goes back down.
Oh.
So
Also, the fact that it ended the same way the first episode began with them flying over the flock of sheep. That's
And
it.
also kind of like in the way Race to the Edge did, where Hiccup looks back and he sees the edge, and then they do that. I'm like, really? We're doing this? All right.
And I love how Thunder's still just chilling out in the fissure, like out in the open. Anyone can just
Oh,
roll up and find the
by the
hidden
way-
world, and it's not a
by the
big
way,
deal, apparently.
How many people do you think will cry when Tom goes, boom, boom, goodbye, pal?
Oh my! Ew. I couldn't even laugh because it was so dumb. I just shook my head. I
Oh,
couldn't.
So dumb.
That's a great
I
way
mean,
to describe the
the,
entire end of the show.
what? Just it's so dumb.
Yeah.
No,
Also,
Meant
actually,
nothing. It was
the,
dumb.
the best way
also
You're
to
the
welcome.
credits were out of nowhere.
Hmm.
I mean, it feels like they had one more scene planned, like an epilogue of sorts, but they didn't have time to animate it, so they just made sketches and put them in the credits.
If
Maybe.
I wish they would have just like those shitty drawings that I do trying to replicate the ending
Yeah.
storyboards in my reviews. I wish they had done some shit like that. Just like awful stick figures of everyone.
By the way, I
they
just want to say,
they just
Tauriel,
commission you.
I'm on the wiki. Tauriel, I'm
Yeah.
on the wiki just to like have
It's a mess. Don't. It's a mess. I'm not
But I
looking
just
at
want
it.
to say that I love how the only trivia you have for the season finale is Tom and June get back together.
The what? Hold on. Who added that? Let me delete it. That's not a trivia point. No, let me delete it. Hold on. Why
At
is
least
that?
have it that they broke up. Come on.
That's
Okay, so I'll save Audrey some time for the season 8 then because you found this a very good summary.
there.
It's dumb.
It's
There you
dumb.
go. That's all.
HC reloads the page. I deleted that.
Okay, I appreciate it.
I mean,
People-
one of
people-
the
I love
People
how we're
keep-
actively changing people who are happy about Tom and June getting together online as we speak.
That's justified because people keep putting stuff that happens in the episode, like just things that happen in the episode, in the trivia, when the trivia is for fun facts, sort of.
I know it's justified, but it still just feels good.
Yeah. I
love the,
I'm waiting a week before looking at the pages for season 8 because people keep editing them. So I'm not
Yeah.
gonna look at them now.
So
I'll
One
let
of the one of the end credit sketches is Eugene winning a game of chess against Alex, and I did find that very funny.
it was. Hold on, I
Yeah,
didn't pay
it was like the
attention.
second or third one. It was just Eugene celebrating and Alex screaming in pain, I'm pretty sure.
That's incredible.
Insane. Hold on. What?
I
Yeah,
don't think
my
I
God,
saw
I
this
landed-
either, but it sounds awesome.
I landed on the Tom and June midnight date, and
Ew.
you, yeah, exactly.
yeah. The first one
And
is Tom and June. Yeah.
yeah,
that
and the next one is D'Angelo with the Rhino.
Yep.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, the one where Eugene wins the game. And
okay,
it's in a cafe, and people are looking around like, "What the hell is that girl screaming about?"
Yep.
I do
Yeah.
love. If I'm gonna miss anything about this show, I'm gonna miss Alex and Eugene. They were the best
yeah.
parts. I do mean that.
Well, yeah, they were one of
The
the.
exasperated sigh.
Mhm.
Why are the sketches of the characters? Why do they look better than the characters?
Because they're adult now.
uh,
In those
no,
sketches
but
in the last
they look
episode.
more human. They look more human than the animation does. Especially June and Eugene. They look human in these sketches.
If
I
we're
suppose
just
so.
going to talk about final thoughts, which I think we're kind of divulging into,
We are getting there. Yeah, like we talked about everything. So
again, I'm going to save a lot of, my overall feelings about the entire show for some type of looking back video. I know you guys are talking about doing that.
yeah, which I'll say will come sometime next month, like in around January.
Yeah,
We'll be in touch on it.
so I'm saving a lot of my overarching feelings for something like that because I feel like there's so much to look back on and digest and try to figure out what happened here. But just in terms of the conclusion of the show, I was right in my assumption that it was very, very underwhelming. I mean, I was kind of impressed that they managed to break out the offensive nine realms, we don't give a shit about the original franchise kind of thing in the last episode because they haven't really done that in the past couple of seasons. I mean, we had the Hiccups leg incident, we had the Alpha incident, and now we have them name dropping Astrid for no reason other than it's convenient for them.
No reason and no explanation.
No reason, no explanation, and it doesn't add anything to Tom's character. So, I mean, it's awful, but it's very fitting because that's what they've been doing this entire show. And this is probably, oh, fuck it. I was actually kind of happy that it was only Astrid and not the other main six characters, but then I realized that it probably wouldn't matter because they would mix them up, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Imagine them
Old.
mixing up Rough Nut and Tough Nut and saying Tough Nut was the girl and Rough Nut was the guy.
Do we all understand what I'm referencing whenever I
I
say
was
that?
about to say, maybe you know something. I just realized, Tom being them saying that Tom should is probably a part of Astrid and not Hiccup was the hint that John Telegan was giving us with the tweet where he confused fish legs with Snotlout.
Yeah.
Yes, for
Yeah.
context, people who don't know, someone tweeted John Telegan saying, "So excited for the final season," yada yada. It was a positive tweet, and they had a GIF of fish legs from Big Man on Burke, and John saw it and replied, saying, "I believe that GIF of Snotlout is from Big Man on Burke. That was the first Dragons episode I ever wrote. Well played." And I felt like my soul elevate out of my body and through the ceiling into outer space. And I was like, you are fucking. This guy runs the spinoff derived from a TV show and franchise that he wrote for years, and he doesn't remember the name of one of the main fucking characters.
That's
Not
like-
even a side character, a main character.
That's like if I met the creators of the Ninja Turtles and told them Michelangelo is my favorite, and they would go, "Oh, the blue one, right?"
Oh God.
It was so crazy, and it wasn't even a joke because someone called him out on it and said, "I know that this guy did not just refer to fish legs as snot loud," and he actually replied to that saying, "Oh, you're right, epic fail, lol."
Yeah.
I was like,
No.
I'm willing to give the man a break. He had to work 2 years on this show. I can
It's like getting
imagine,
your
He wants to
child's
distance
name
himself.
incorrect.
but I can imagine that, spending 2 years of your life on this show, it does some things to you.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean,
we
that
have.
was actually the point where I looked at him and I was like, "Man, you have just given up, haven't you?
like
You don't care
John,
anymore."
John, if you're listening to this, no disrespect. I know that you were on
Not at
there.
all.
No, we love you.
I know that you did the best with what you could, but like, dude,
Come
Or we're gonna give you shit.
He needs a vacation so bad.
Just dude.
Come on. I love the fact that it was in a tweet about him bragging about that was the first episode I ever wrote, and he got
Yeah.
the name of the character.
Wait, did anybody
Which-
fact check that, by the way?
yeah.
It's true.
Yes.
Oh,
In case that
it's
was
so-
also
I
wrong.
guess what
so
better
painful.
note to end on? What better note to
I
end
mean,
on this?
He's
He
free as
also-
well. So he
What?
should be celebrating. He's free
Yeah.
from this show.
Yeah.
Oh
he's
yeah.
free.
Um,
But I will say, you know what?
every-
I'm gonna end with something positive from this show. If it weren't for it, I wouldn't have known Audrie and I wouldn't have known Tauriel. So
Mhm.
I was
Oh,
about to
yeah.
say that maybe the real 9 rounds were the friends we made along the way.
but that's surprise, not the 9 rounds in general.
I am
Because that's
incredibly grateful for this show because I got to meet all of you guys, and it's been so fun
Yeah,
talking
me
about it.
too.
Even though I still have a ways to go, I still have my season 7 and 8
Getting to
reviews.
see your
Also,
content was
You
actually,
can do it.
and has been
shout out-
great.
Shout out to my boy Winston. Without him, I wouldn't have
Yes.
messaged Audrey.
Yes! Shout out to Winston, best character in the show besides Alex and Eugene.
Mhm.
Oh my
You know
God.
what? This is I can't believe I forgot to mention this, but there's a phrase in Hebrew that literally says that if you want to describe someone that changes his opinion or changes anything and it shocks you, you would go, "Has the black man changed his skin?" Winston is just the living definition of that phrase.
It
Oh my
really
God.
set a new precedent for animated shows and media from now on. If
Yeah.
you don't have a character that spontaneously changes races, you're probably doing better than the 9-year-old.
And that's the thing, when you look back at like the original Ninja Turtles cartoon, they would have fuck ups where like the turtles would be colored with the wrong bandana or something. This is like that exact mistakes, but brought up to the next level.
It's iconic. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
care.
no, it's iconic. It is. Honestly,
So-
Audrey, whenever I introduce people to you, this is the first clip I go to. Just that they forgot to make him black.
You know what's funny? My dad does the same thing. Every
Oh.
time he shows people my channel, he shows them that.
Yes.
It's so difficult to explain every single time, but it's hilarious.
Oh man. So basically what we're saying is all we're remembering about the 9 realms is Michael Jackson.
Pretty much.
Ooh!
I mean, is
Great.
there anything else? Like, nothing's ever gonna top that. Come on.
No, I don't think so.
So I guess we're free until we do that discussion, and until that point, that's all
We're
for
not
this
quite free yet.
well, we don't need to watch the show again for that, so we are free from watching it.
Just
That's
watch my
been
I'm
reviews,
not.
the ones that I have done.
I'm
This
not
is all
yet.
for this episode of the Berkcast. We hope you enjoyed. What did you think about the last season of 9 Realms? You can tell us all about that and your disappointment in the comment section below, on our Twitter, which is Berkcast with a capital B, capital C, and on our Tumblr, which is Berkcast Team. Ian, where can people find you?
Oh,
Nowhere. He's an enigma.
I'm going.
That sounded so. Oh, I don't like people.
Well, I mean, the website that I host is Fat Train Dragon is offline at the moment, so you can't really find me there, can you? But normally, Bath and Belch is online. Otherwise, I go by Ian Chi or Ian Chi26 on the internet.
Audrey, where can people find you?
You can find me at Audrey Greywind on YouTube. My season 7 and 8 reviews are coming. I was just unable to keep up with the show because it releases like nothing I've ever seen before in my entire life. And I'm
I mean-
trying to keep my sanity intact while I do it so I can deliver the best review possible, but it is coming.
One
Speaking
thing
of,
that was impressive about this series was its
before
release
this
schedule.
tutorial, where can
That's
people
true.
find you?
Another plane of existence.
Uh, so
Sorry,
Audrey,
kidding.
I
If
will-
you want to see me screaming about Good Omens, you can find me on Twitter at Tauriel of Mirk or on Tumblr at Tauriel of Mirkwood 77777 of 7.
And before we wrap up, I will say that I just remembered a joke. But Audrey, would you say that watching this show has been a deadly detention?
It absolutely has.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch her video on Henry Zaga. You will get the gist.
And HC makes an appearance, so
Yeah, that
It's worth
movie was life changing, and I'm standing by it. With
You're
that being
welcome.
well, with all that said, thank you for listening. We'll see you all next time. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Boy.